burudani kutoka brass band ya Jeshi la Polisi, tukiwa tunaendelea kusubiri wakati utimie ili viongozi wetu wa mataifa haya mawili
One man, one vote.
Há quem esteja a trabalhar ativamente para a balcanização do país.
I want to fight for my country.
And you make our people feel that they're one.
Everybody must be accorded his full political rights.
Secure progress.
We must be focused.
I can see Africa myself.
Ninawashukuru sana pia kwa kuichagua Tanzania kuwa mwenyeji wa maadhimisho haya ya SADC. Kwa kweli hii ni heshima kubwa kwa Tanzania. Asanteni sana.
Sisi la mafosa wanaingia, naomba tuwapokee kwa makofi. Asante. Waheshimiwa marais, naomba sasa mtuongoze kwa nyimbo za taifa, na nichukue nafasi hii sasa karibisha brass band ya Jeshi la Polisi kwa nyimbo za taifa. Asante brass band. Waheshimiwa, naomba tuketi. Waheshimiwa marais, ninayo heshima kuanza ratiba yetu kwa kuwatambulisha viongozi mbalimbali walioko ndani ya ukumbi huu. Kwanza kabisa, naomba tutambue uwepo wa waheshimiwa mawaziri wa serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania pamoja na Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Naomba kwa pamoja tusimame. Waheshimiwa marais, wapo pia manaibu mawaziri kutoka serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Pamoja nasi tunao wakuu wa vyombo vya ulinzi na usalama kutoka serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania pamoja na Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Waheshimiwa marais, naomba mtambue uwepo wa waheshimiwa mabalozi na wawakilishi wa taasisi za kimataifa nchini Tanzania, ambassadors and head of international institution in Tanzania. Naomba pia mtambue uwepo wa waheshimiwa wabunge wa Bunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Waheshimiwa marais, naomba mtambue uwepo wa wenye viti wa bodi za taasisi za umma Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania pamoja na watendaji wakuu wa taasisi hizo. Kwa namna pekee, naomba mtambue uwepo wa wenye viti na watendaji wakuu wa taasisi za sekta binafsi nchini Tanzania na zile kutoka Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Waheshimiwa marais, pia ndani ya ukumbi huu tunao wazee wa mkoa wa Dar es Salaam wakiongozwa na mzee Joseph Butiku, mwenyekiti wa taasisi ya Mwalimu Nyerere Foundation. Waheshimiwa marais, baada ya utambulisho huo, kwa heshima na taadhima, naomba sasa nimkaribishe Mr. Salaam Shamte, mwenyekiti wa Tanzania Private Sector na SADC Business Forum, aje atoe salamu za utangulizi.
Your Excellency, Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Ministers from the governments of South Africa and Tanzania, Honorable Deputy Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished business leaders and government officials from Tanzania and South Africa, invited guests, all protocols observed, good afternoon. On behalf of the private sector in Tanzania, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our brothers and sisters from South Africa. Welcome to Tanzania and welcome to the city of Dar es Salaam, the haven of peace. May the Almighty God make your stay an enjoyable and a fruitful one. May I take this opportunity to express our profound appreciation to Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, and members of the South African delegation for your timely visit to Tanzania to further explore investment and trading opportunities and to cement the long-standing bilateral economic and historical ties between our two countries. I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to Your Excellency, President Magufuli, for inviting and welcoming President Ramaphosa and his delegation. We, the business community, congratulate you, Mr. President, on becoming the chairman of SADC. We also thank and congratulate you. We also thank and congratulate you for ushering in extensive reforms to create an attractive and enabling environment to invest and do business in Tanzania. We believe that during your term as chairman of SADC, you will continue to persuade all SADC countries to seriously focus on creating sustainable and enabling environment for the private sector to prosper and take advantage of the opportunities presented in the market of more than 400 million people in the region and beyond. Your Excellencies, your presence today signals the commitment you have in championing and advancing private sector development as engines of growth. This will lead to the prosperity of businesses, employment, and economic progress of our countries and our people. We would like to assure you of the support and commitment of the private sector in ensuring that together, in partnership, we succeed in this noble endeavor. Your Excellencies, today's forum affords an opportunity for the South African delegates to learn, share experiences, and exchange information about Tanzania's numerous investment and business opportunities. It is also an avenue which will establish robust linkages leading to creation of viable business connections and partnerships for the mutual benefits of the citizens of Tanzania and South Africa. Your Excellencies and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania is among the top 5 fastest growing economies in the whole of Africa, growing at around 7% per annum for the last decade. Tanzania offers massive opportunities in agriculture, livestock, fisheries, mining, tourism, manufacturing, transport, logistics, construction, to name but a few sectors. The 5th phase government of the United Republic of Tanzania, under the able leadership of His Excellency Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, has focused on industrialization as a vision towards achieving middle income status by 2025. Apart from adopting a zero-tolerance corruption strategy, the public and the private sector have jointly developed a blueprint for regulatory reforms to improve the investment and business environment, and its implementation is already underway. Fully implemented, this will completely change the way Tanzania is facilitating entrepreneurs to invest and do business. Tanzania is also massively investing in improving rail, road, ports, and communication infrastructure, the production, transmission, and distribution of energy from various sources to support the industrialization drive and the improvement of our human resources. Through the reforms and public investment, business environment is steadily improving, and coupled with our peace and stability and the unique geographical positioning of Tanzania, we are a very attractive investment destination. The private sector strives to complement the public sector through public-private partnership and through private investment. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are aware of South Africa's technological, financial, and trade capabilities in various sectors. We believe that through working together in partnership, we can achieve serious development which will be mutually beneficial. We urge that any investment should consider a joint venture approach with local entrepreneurs to ensure a win-win situation to develop. The state visit of Your Excellency President Ramaphosa to Tanzania has come at the right time to revitalize investment and business relationship between our countries. With the backdrop of the SADC meetings, we can deepen the ties of regional integration and further contribute to the economic growth and wealth creation in the region and in Africa. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we again welcome our brothers and sisters from South Africa and beyond to join us in exploring areas of partnerships for investing in Tanzania and in the region in a collaborative win-win approach. We strongly urge the public and the private sector players across the continent to rethink, to unlearn competition, and to embrace more collaboration. Let us work together in public-private partnerships for all endeavors, large and small, because together we will succeed. While you are here, please also visit the many unmatched touristic attractions of Kilimanjaro, Serengeti, Ngorongoro, Zanzibar, and many others, which this beautiful country and the hospitable people of Tanzania have to offer. Karibuni sana na mjisikie mko nyumbani, and thank you very much for your kind attention.
Asante sana na kushukuru. Waheshimiwa marais, sasa ni zamu ya kusikia salamu kutoka kwa mkuu wa mfuko wa Somafco. Nimkaribishe sasa Mr. Tiolohelo Mohorathe kutoka Somafco, kirefu chake ni Solomon Maharang Freedom College. Asante na karibu.
Your Excellency President Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Ministers, Honorable High Commissioners and Ambassadors, Honorable Permanent Secretaries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. My name is Tlulu Muhlati. I grew up in Morogoro from 1983 to 1989. This was possible because in 1979, during South Africa's darkest hours, Tanzania generously gave the ANC land on which its dreams of a liberated South Africa was realized. Not only was a school built called the Solomon Mahlangu Freedom College, abbreviated Somafco, we developed a modern village which included industries such as a carpentry factory, a textile factory, and a farm, amongst other facilities. In our time in Morogoro, at Somafco, during our developmental years, they were so profound and meaningful that together with my team, we have undertaken 11 educational tours since 2008, and we have brought over 400 youth on a pilgrimage to what is best described as a Mecca of the liberation struggle. What is special about this year, apart from the obvious engagements and bilateral discussion, is that we have brought business partners who President Ramaphosa insisted we mobilize to make serious investment proposals in Tanzania. I would strongly encourage you to stay after our principals and left, because these businesses don't want to merely invest in Tanzania, but they are looking for real impact. For example, one company and our state-owned DFI, the DBSA, are seeking to support President Magufuli's inspirational drive in rail projects, road, and the ports, as mentioned earlier. They are already training train conductors in South Africa. Others want to seriously invest in cashew nut processing factories and renewable energy. They are open to partnerships to make this happen. Last but not least, we as the Somafco Trust are pleased to share that we have been working with global consulting engineering firm Oricon to launch an exciting precinct project in Morogoro. The precinct will not only preserve and, most importantly, promote our shared heritage, it will also contribute to unlocking the economic potential that the SGR project will enable in Morogoro and other parts of the country. President Magufuli, Mazimbu ni nyumbani. Ni nyumbani yetu, and we are truly passionate about this country and would like to ask you to please join President Ramaphosa, who over the last 3 years has steadfastly supported the project we've been pursuing. Please join him in supporting this project, and we'll take it from there. Asanteni.
Naomba tumshangilie kwa makofi mengi tafadhali. Mheshimiwa Marais Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, na Mheshimiwa Cyril Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Sasa ni zamu ya kusikia salamu kutoka kwa waheshimiwa mawaziri wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini. Na tutaanza na Mheshimiwa Balozi Amina Salum Ali, Waziri wa Biashara na Viwanda kutoka Serikali ya Mapinduzi ya Zanzibar. Mheshimiwa Balozi, karibu.
Mheshimiwa Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Cyril Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini, Mheshimiwa Kabudi, Profesa Kabudi, Waziri wa Mambo ya Nje na Ushirikiano wa Afrika Mashariki, Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Mambo ya Nje na Mapando wa Serikali wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini, Mheshimiwa Innocent Bashungwa, Waziri wa Viwanda na Biashara Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Nkosani Kobaye Ngubane, Waziri wa Utalii wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini, waheshimiwa mawaziri wa serikali ya Muungano wa Tanzania na Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini, waheshimiwa viongozi wa vyombo vya ulinzi na viongozi wa vyombo mbalimbali vya serikali ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Salaam Shamte, mwenyekiti wa taasisi ya sekta binafsi na taasisi ya wafanyabiashara wa SADC, wawakilishi wa Jumuiya ya wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania, wawakilishi kutoka wafanyabiashara kutoka Afrika Kusini, wageni waalikwa, mabibi na mabwana, itifaki imezingatiwa. Mheshimiwa Rais, awali ya yote naomba nianze kwa kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu mtukufu kwa kutujalia uzima na kuweza kukutana siku hii maalum katika jitihada ya kuimarisha ushirikiano wa nchi zetu mbili, Tanzania na Afrika Kusini. Pia namshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kuzijalia nchi zetu hizi kubaki katika hali ya amani, utulivu na upendo katika jamii yetu, na tunamuomba Mola wetu aendelee kuzibariki nchi zetu hizi na watu wake ziendelee kuwa ni nchi za amani na utulivu daima na milele. Pia tunamuomba Mwenyezi Mungu akujalie wewe rais wetu mpendwa Mheshimiwa Dr. John Pombe Magufuli na ndugu yako Mheshimiwa Salaam afya njema, hekima na busara za kuendelea kutuongoza nchi zetu. Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba nichukue nafasi hii ya kushukuru kwa kupata fursa hii adhimu ya kusimama mbele yenu kuzungumza machache kuhusu mkutano huu, jukwaa hili maalum ambao unalenga kuimarisha udugu wetu na mshikamano wetu ulioanzishwa na baba wa taifa hayati Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere na mwenzake hayati Mzee Nelson Mandela katika jitihada zao za kulikomboa bara letu la Afrika. Hivyo mjumuiko huu wetu ni katika jitihada za kuendelea kuzienzi fikra za waasisi wetu, kukumbuka historia yetu, silika na utamaduni wetu ambavyo ni tunu kubwa za mataifa yetu. Waheshimiwa marais, tunakupongezeni sana kwa uamuzi wenu huu wa kuja hapa kusikiliza katika hili jukwaa maalum la biashara. Mheshimiwa Rais, Watanzania na Waafrika ya Kusini ni wamoja na tumekuwa tukishirikiana katika mambo mengi ikiwa ni pamoja na kufanya biashara na uwekezaji. Jambo la kufurahisha zaidi ni kuwa uwekezaji wa nchi ya Afrika Kusini umefika hadi Zanzibar na tunauthamini sana. Mheshimiwa Rais, moja ya nguzo ya kuimarisha biashara na uwekezaji ni matumizi ya lugha ambayo irahisishe mawasiliano na ni moja ya njia kuelewana na kuweka mazingira rahisi na mazuri ya kukuza biashara. Katika siku za hivi karibuni, chini ya uongozi wako makini, tumeshuhudia juhudi zako na za ndugu yako Mheshimiwa Rais Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini, kwa kushirikiana kuhakikisha kwamba lugha yetu ya ukombozi wa bara la Afrika, yaani Kiswahili, inafundishwa katika mitaala ya elimu nchini Afrika Kusini. Ni imani kwamba hatua hii muhimu itazidi kuimarisha udugu wetu na mshikamano, na matokeo yake itasaidia sana kukuza utengamano wetu na kuongeza biashara si tu baina ya Afrika Kusini na Tanzania, na itasambaa kwa kasi zaidi katika ukanda wetu mzima wa jumuiya yetu hii ya SADC. Mheshimiwa Rais, kupitia jukwaa hili nitatupa nafasi ya kuzungumza na kujadili mbinu na mikakati muhimu ya kuongeza mashirikiano kwenye uwekezaji baina ya nchi zetu, hivyo kuongeza kwa kiwango cha juu uwekezaji kwenye maeneo muhimu kwa maendeleo yetu. Vile vile ipo haja pia kuzungumza njia za kuongeza biashara za pande zote mbili ili ziongezeke kasi na kukuza kiwango cha biashara baina ya nchi zetu ukilinganisha na mauzo tunayofanya na nchi zilizo nje ya kanda yetu na Afrika. Nchi zetu zina kila sababu ya kushirikiana na kubadilishana mbinu za mikakati na kuongeza ujuzi wa fani mbalimbali ikiwemo elimu maalum inayohitajika Tanzania, teknolojia, uwekezaji wa kifedha, na hatimaye tunaweza kuwa ndiyo nguzo kubwa ya maendeleo katika jumuiya yetu ya mashirikiano ya SADC na Afrika kwa ujumla. Mheshimiwa Rais, baada ya maelezo haya mafupi na kwa kuelewa utayari wako na uzalendo wako sio tu kwa Tanzania, pia kwa bara la Afrika ikiwemo na nchi rafiki kama hii Afrika Kusini, umesimama kwa uthabiti katika kukuza uwekezaji na kuondoa urasimu na vikwazo katika biashara baina ya nchi zetu za kanda na Afrika. Kwani kufanya hivyo ni kuweka misingi muhimu ya kukuza uchumi na maendeleo endelevu ya ustawi wa wananchi wetu. Mheshimiwa Rais, nasema hongera sana waheshimiwa marais kwa kutukutanisha pamoja katika tukio hili muhimu na la kihistoria. Naomba nimalizie kwa kurudia kauli mbiu ya SADC, umoja wetu ndio nguvu yetu. Karibuni sana, asante sana.
Asante sana, naomba tumpongeze kwa makofi. Waheshimiwa marais, naomba mtambue uwepo wa makatibu wakuu na manaibu makatibu wakuu kutoka Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini. Makatibu wakuu, naomba tusimame. Asanteni sana. Waheshimiwa marais, sasa ni zamu ya kusikia salamu kutoka Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini, na kwa heshima kubwa naomba nimkaribishe Kensani Kubai Ngubane, waziri wa utalii kutoka Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini.
Thank you very much, Program Director. His Excellency President Joseph Magufuli, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of the Republic of South Africa, ministers and deputy ministers from both the countries, members of parliament, members of the diplomatic corps, captains of industries from both the United Republic of Tanzania and the Republic of South Africa, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. South Africa and Tanzania enjoy very cordial and fraternal relations forged over decades in the battlefield of political, social, and economic emancipation. After centuries of struggle, today our two countries are liberated and are, in many ways, taking practical steps to eradicate the scourge of poverty, unemployment, and underdevelopment. In this regard, the private sector remains a key partner and driver of the growth that our countries need to win this battle to create a more fair, equitable, healthy, and sustainable communities. The instruments to help us achieve these laudable goals are encapsulated in the various economic cooperation agreements signed at the highest level of the two governments. These agreements seek to enhance trade and investment between two countries and establishes formal and regular consultative structures at both senior official level and ministerial level, as well as at the private sector level. The agreements include, amongst others, Memorandum of Understanding on Economic Cooperation signed in 1998 with a new generation Memorandum of Understanding currently under negotiation. Agreement for the avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to taxes on income signed in 2005. Agreement for the promotion and reciprocal protection of investments signed in 2005. Agreements between the government of the Republic of South Africa and the government of the United Republic of Tanzania on the establishment of a binational commission signed in 2011. In addition, our two countries are also bound together and committed to the successful conclusions of the SADC Free Trade Agreement, the COMESA, EAC, SADC Tripartite Free Trade Agreements, and SACU EAC negotiations. Excellencies, these agreements are designed primarily to help foster and incentivize the establishment of effective and flourishing partnerships at government-to-government level, government-to-business level, and business-to-business levels between our two countries. It is within this spirit that our government, ably led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, has made a conscious and deliberate decision to advocate for the inclusion of a business forum on the margins of every state visits or high-level event to accentuate the importance of partnerships and cooperation to enable the realization of strategic objectives outlined in our national, regional, continental, and international levels. However, we must recognize that as governments, our role is to create an enabling environment that incentivizes, protects, and encourages the private sector to unleash the power of their creative abilities, ingenuity, and entrepreneurial spirit in order to translate public policies into more trade and more investment, more growth, more jobs, which is the bedrock of every nation that aspires to climb the upper echelons of prosperity, well-being, and wealth. It is our deep desire to work together with the government and people of Tanzania to achieve these noble goals. In this regard, it is incumbent upon our two countries to put in place measures and instruments that will be required to assist us to better manage and deal with the opportunities, challenges, and threats that could be generated by what we envisage and expect to be a very exciting and promising future characterized by increased bilateral, two-way trade and investments. We owe it to the current and future generations to establish a solid and effective platform that should, if well and properly managed, catapult our two countries as leading players in the African continental integration and economic development agenda. With those words, and on behalf of the Republic of South Africa, I wish you a successful business engagement. And again, thank you for hosting us here today, colleagues from Tanzania. Asante sana, siyabonga na kenza.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Waziri kwa salamu kutoka kwa wenzetu Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Waheshimiwa marais, kwa heshima kubwa sasa ni zamu ya Mheshimiwa Innocent Basungwa, mbunge, waziri wa viwanda na biashara kutoka Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Mheshimiwa Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Cyril Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini, Waheshimiwa mawaziri kutoka Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini, Waheshimiwa mawaziri wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Engineer Stella Manyanya, Naibu Waziri wa Viwanda na Biashara, waheshimiwa manaibu waziri mliopo hapa, waheshimiwa mabalozi, Mheshimiwa Suleiman Sadik, mwenyekiti wa kamati ya kudumu ya Bunge ya Viwanda, Biashara na Mazingira, katibu mkuu wa Wizara ya Viwanda na Biashara Profesa Buchoshaija, waheshimiwa wabunge wenzangu, waheshimiwa wajumbe wa Baraza la Wawakilishi Serikali ya Mapinduzi Zanzibar, natambua uwepo wa mzee Joseph Butiku, mwenyekiti wa Nyerere Foundation, waheshimiwa makatibu wakuu na manaibu wa katibu wakuu, viongozi wa vyombo vya ulinzi na usalama, mwenyekiti wa Tanzania Private Sectors Foundation mzee Shamte, wafanyabiashara kutoka Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini, wafanyabiashara kutoka Tanzania, viongozi wa taasisi, sekta binafsi na umma mliopo hapa, waheshimiwa marais, awali ya yote niungane na waliotangulia kuongea kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwanza kwa kuwajalia afya njema marais wetu. Lakini pia waheshimiwa marais, namshukuru sana Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kudumisha undugu na urafiki uliopo baina ya nchi zetu. Namshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa yote. Waheshimiwa marais, niungane na wewe Mheshimiwa Rais wetu Dr. John Pombe Magufuli pamoja na Watanzania kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Rais Cyril Ramaphosa pamoja na ujumbe wake kwa kuitembelea Tanzania. Tunaungana Rais wetu kuwakaribisha sana Mheshimiwa Rais Ramaphosa. Mheshimiwa Marais, sijasimama mbele yenu kuhutubia, bali nimesimama mbele yenu kwanza kwa niaba ya Jumuiya ya Wafanyabiashara kutoka Tanzania na Afrika ya Kusini kuwashukuruni sana kwa kutenga muda wenu pamoja na majukumu mlionayo. Mmetuheshimu sana kuja kuzungumza na sisi. Tunawashukuru sana kwa niaba ya halaiki iliyopo mbele yenu. Lakini pia nitumie nafasi hii kuwashukuru sana Jumuiya ya Wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania na Afrika Kusini. Kwa kweli ukumbi umejaa mpaka ni raha tupu. Nawashukuru sana kwa kujitokeza kuwasikiliza na kuwapokea marais wetu. Wafanyabiashara kutoka Tanzania, sasa kazi kwenu. Mheshimiwa Rais wetu, kwanza tunakushukuru sana jitihada za serikali unayoiongoza za kujenga miundombinu mbalimbali, ujenzi wa reli, umeme, bandari, shirika la ndege. Sasa tunaona jitihada zako za kuhakikisha miundombinu hii inasaidia sekta zinazozalisha na tunakupongeza sana kwa kuendelea kuiweka private sector mbele, kwani private sector ndiyo engine ya kusaidia Watanzania kwenda kwenye uchumi wa kati. Tunakupongeza sana Rais wetu kwa jitihada hizo. Tunakushukuru kwa kuendelea kutuandalia na kuweka mazingira ya wafanyabiashara wetu kufanya bilateral engagement pamoja na wafanyabiashara wengine. Tunawashukuru sana wafanyabiashara kutoka Afrika Kusini. Hapa ni kwenu. Matumaini yangu ni kwamba mtakaa na wafanyabiashara kutoka Tanzania, muongee dili na dili hizo zifanyikie hapa Tanzania, kwa sababu Tanzania kila kukicha tunazidi kuweka mazingira uwezeshi ya kufanya biashara na kuwekeza hapa. Kwa hiyo tunawakaribisha sana sana. Mheshimiwa Rais, baada ya kusema hayo, na kwa vile halaiki hii na Watanzania wana hamu sana ya kusikia Mheshimiwa Rais pamoja na mgeni wako Mheshimiwa Rais Cyril Ramaphosa, kwa heshima kabisa naomba nitumie nafasi hii Mheshimiwa Rais wetu kukaribisha ili uweze kuongea na halaiki ya wafanya biashara pamoja na Watanzania. Mheshimiwa Rais, nakukaribisha sana.
It makes me very difficult which language I should use. Your Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Ministers from Tanzania and South Africa, Honorable Member of Parliament, Permanent Secretaries, distinguished member of the business community from Tanzania and South Africa, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I feel greatly honored to have the opportunity to attend a business forum between Tanzania and South Africa for the second time. As you all may recall, on 11th May 2017, at this very place, I and the former President of South Africa, His Excellency Jacob Zuma, had the privilege to attend another business forum between our two countries. Indeed, these two business fora demonstrate our resolve for a deeper economic cooperation between our two brotherly nations. Before I proceed with my remark, allow me, on behalf of the government and the people of the United Republic of Tanzania, to once again extend a very warm welcome to Your Excellency, and my dear brother, President Ramaphosa. I also commend you for your decision to come with this higher level business delegation. In this regards, I would also like to warmly welcome my brothers and sisters from the South African business community who have come to meet their Tanzanian counterparts in order to discuss and explore business opportunities between our two countries. Kindly feel at home, for indeed Tanzania is your second home. Your Excellencies, President Ramaphosa, distinguished participants, this business forum, it comes at a point when our two nations are fully committed to the furtherance of our economic cooperation. It is an evidence fact that in the past, our nations were brought together by struggle for political liberations against apartheid. However, since the return of the majority rule in South Africa, our nations are now directing their attention towards economic liberations. In my humble opinion, this must constitute an overarching mission, not only for two nations, but for the whole of Africa. This is important because even our political liberation will make no sense if this mission remains unaccomplished. For we shall remain dependent on economic powerful nations. Therefore, as a friendly and brotherly nations, we must direct our effort towards economic liberations. That is only directions left ahead of us, and we have no other choice. As such, this business forum must bring us together in a view to diverging on implementation concrete strategies for a more profound cooperation in the domain of trade and investment. Indeed, our shared history has taught us to work closely. Let us continue in the same directions. Your Excellency, President Ramaphosa, honorable leaders, distinguished participants, South Africa is our major economic and business partner. Statistics can attest to this fact. In 2018, the volume of trade between our nations amounted to $1,180.2 million US, where Tanzania imported goods and services worth $437.2 million US, being an increase by 5.3% compared to $515.152 million US in 2017. On the other hand, the export value from Tanzania to South Africa accounted for $743.02 million in 2018, being an increase by 6.8% compared to $699.791 million in 2017. Based on these statistics, South Africa ranks second among the leading country destinations of Tanzania's export, with a 16.7% share of all our export commodities. In the same vein, more than 70% of all Tanzanians' export to SADC go to South Africa. The main exports from Tanzania to South Africa include minerals, especially gold, cotton, tea, tobacco, wheat flour, simsim, coffee, cereals, spices from Zanzibar, fruits, and vegetables. On the other hand, Tanzanians' major imports include various types of machineries, electric equipments, beverage, sugar, rubber, cosmetic, detergents, vehicle, plastic, and the transportation equipment. Apart from that, South Africa has a total of 228 investment projects in Tanzania with USA dollar 860.05 million, availing 21,075 employment opportunities, making it the 13th largest investors in Tanzania. Your Excellencies, President Ramaphosa, honorable leaders, distinguished participants, a quick assessment of the few statistics that I have just presented attest to the strength of our cooperations in trade and investment, and that this cooperation has been growing year after year. Furthermore, the balance of trade between our nations is yet another indicator of our close cooperations. Certainly, these achievements are ascribed to our long-standing diplomatic, political, and economic ties. Despite this achievement, a lot of trade and investment potentials remain unexploited. In fact, if we fully utilize all the available opportunities, our bilateral trade and investment cooperation would attain a new and unprecedented height. The industrial sector presents a major investment opportunity which is full alliance with the visions of the current 55th government. It is a fact that in our country, the level of productions of manufactured goods is still very low. And so, is it contributions to the nation's gross product, GDP, it is actually less than 15%. Therefore, as a nation, we are determined to promote the manufacturing sector by encouraging the establishment of industries that add value to our products with a view to cutting down the amount of primary goods exported out of our country and finished goods imported from abroad. We won't fabricate textile from our cotton to process meat. Actually, Tanzania is the second largest amount of animals after Ethiopia. To fabricate leather materials using our livestock, to process fish from our ocean, lakes, rivers, and ponds, to produce sugar and edible oil using our locally available produce, and etc. Our ultimate goal is to reach a stage where we can process all our primary goods and eventually abandon the current practice of exporting raw material from our country. Exporting raw material means you are also exporting jobs. In line with this above argument, I recognize that South Africa is one of the major buyers of minerals and precious stones from Tanzania. We invite you to build mineral smelters and refineries in order to add value to the mineral product prior to the exportations. I'm certain that you have the necessary technology and the donors are open for the door are open for investment in this area. And I'm really assuring you the door is open and will continue to be open for this area. Of particular importance is that the issue of investment in pharmaceutical industries. Our country, and I believe this is the case with the other SADC countries, spend a lot of foreign exchange for importations of medical supplies. I have mentioned this during our discussion with President Ramaphosa. This is due to lack of pharmaceutical industries. At present, our medical stores department has been given the mandate by the Global Fund to procure medical supplies for all SADC member countries. It is, however, unfortunate that 94% of the medical supplies are imported from abroad. We have failed to fully utilize this opportunity due to industrial backwardness. We thus invite all serious investors from South Africa to invest in the industrial sector, including the pharmaceutical industries. Our major focus resides on industries that utilize the locally available primary goods. It goes without saying that South Africa is far more advanced in terms of industrial technology compared to many African countries. So the room is there for you. It is therefore important and useful to share experiences and utilize the available technology to develop the industrial sector in Africa, and more so in the SADC sub-regions. Your Excellency, President Ramaphosa, ladies and gentlemen, tourism is another area with huge investment potentials. For those who might not be aware, Tanzania ranks second in the world in terms of number of tourist attractions behind Brazil. However, these attractions have not been developed and fully utilized to contribute the right share to the GDP. It is in these recognitions the government is undertaking a concerted effort to promote the tourist sector by focusing on all tourist circuits, the northern, the southern, and the northwest circuit. For instance, we have recently established 3 new national parks in the northwest circuit, and another one is due to be established in the southern circuit. Efforts are also being undertaken to develop beach tourism along the coast of Indian Ocean, with the coastline covering 1,424 kilometers. Measures are also underway to develop sports, culture, and historical tourism. In this regard, we call for investors from South Africa to invest especially in tourist infrastructure, including hotels, camps, transport, and etc., both in the mainlands and Tanzania. Connected to this, I would like to propose to the distinguished participants, if time so permit, please visit some of our tourist attractions. Do not only for the enjoyment, but also for exploring and identifying areas for investment. Your Excellencies, it is clear that South Africa has made great strides in field of motor assembly. When I came to your country during the inauguration ceremony of my brother, His Excellency Ramaphosa, I was able to see myself the advancement you have attained in motor assembly technology and how you encourage your people to purchase vehicles assembled in South Africa. In fact, I did not see old vehicles causing noise and air pollution on the road, especially for those roads which I used during the time when I was in South Africa. We also invited serious stakeholders or business people from South Africa to establish motor assembly industries in our country. The market is huge and readily available. Actually, it's really unfair to buy a car 1,000 kilometers from Dar es Salaam than to buy cars just a few kilometers from South Africa. Your Excellency President Ramaphosa, honorable leaders, I have so far pointed out some investment opportunities available in our country. At this juncture, I deem it important to explain very briefly effort being undertaken by the government to create a conducive environment for trade and investment. First and most importantly, the government has established a new ministry specifically responsible for investment under the Prime Minister's office. Secondly, in order to promote industries and investment, we have set export processing zone and special economic zones. We have further continued to put in place enabling infrastructure, including the implementation of various energy projects in order to reduce production cost. One of them is the flagship projects of Nyerere Dam in Rufiji Basin, coastal regions, which will generate 2,115 megawatts. We have also undertaken to develop transports and transportation infrastructure, including road, air, water, and railway transport. Regarding air transport, we have revamped our national carrier, Air Tanzania, and as you might have witnessed, we have recently established direct flight to South Africa. This direct flight is scheduled 4 times a week. This arrangement will facilitate not only trade and investment, but also promote tourism between our countries. In line with that, airports are being expanded. I am sure you have seen it. Roads are constructed all over the country. Marine ports are being expanded and a new ship constructed. Most importantly, we are constructing a standard gauge railway covering 1,800 kilometers from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza, Kigoma regional, and then the railway line will later connect our neighboring Burundi and Rwanda. Another measures involved the review of our legal and regulatory framework in order to simplify investment procedures and get rid of bureaucracies. We undertake all these measures because our country has its door large open to all investors, both local and international. In this connection, I urge all investors not to head to street propaganda that our country is not investors friendly. Those are empty words uttered by individuals with ill intentions against our nation. This government is a great friend of all investors. Above all, Tanzania is a peaceful country and politically stable. The investment environment is therefore predictable. Do not be deceived. Your Excellency, President Ramaphosa, honorable readers, distinguished participants, quite often at the end of business fora like this, participants do exchange phone numbers and the other contacts in order to keep in touch. But it is also possible that no concrete actions follow thereafter. In fact, some participants may end up getting girlfriends or boyfriends instead of establishing business relations. That said, I do intend to stop you from getting girlfriends and boyfriends, but I just wanted to summarize my message in the following terms. 1, your discussion must focus on concrete issues rather than generalities of which no implementation can be affected. 2, upon the conclusions of the forum, secure business partners and reach some concrete preliminary arrangement. Number 3, identify areas of trade and investment and prepare for implementation. Without concrete resolutions and a follow-up for implementation, this forum might not yield intended results. After this remark, I wish you a successful forum and a fruitful deliberations for the mutual benefits of our both country and their people. May God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza.
Naomba tumpigie makofi mengi sana Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli. Waheshimiwa marais, kwa heshima kubwa naomba sasa nimkaribishe tena Mheshimiwa Innocent Bashungwa Mbunge, Waziri wa Viwanda na Biashara kutoka Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, aweze kuja na kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Cyril Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Mheshimiwa Waziri, karibu.
Waheshimiwa marais, kwa heshima na taazima, naomba nitumie fursa hii kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Rais Cyril Ramaphosa aweze kutuhutubia. Mheshimiwa Rais, karibu sana.
Program Director, Your Excellency President John Magufuli, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers from both South Africa and Tanzania, business leaders, leaders of government institutions, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. I'd like to first express my gratitude to all of you who have taken time to come to this business forum. This is one of the most well-attended business forums that I have been to in my humble view. Thank you very much. We are pleased to be in your beautiful country, President Magufuli. We as South Africans also come from a very beautiful country. But because Tanzania and the people of Tanzania carved a very historic place for their country to be regarded as the Mecca of the struggle, it has been whispered to me that God is about to decide which one of the two countries is the most beautiful. And I'll whisper it to you during the dinner tonight, President Magufuli, so you might be able to get another accolade as a country. But I have no doubt it will be said that Tanzania is the most beautiful of the two countries. Having said that, allow me, Your Excellency, to pass on our condolences to the families and to the people of Tanzania following the devastating disaster that led to the deaths of more than 70 people. We wish the families of those who have lost their loved ones strength as they go through this valley of darkness, as they come to terms with their loss. But we also wish those who are still in hospital a good recovery. South Africa and Tanzania are bound together by a shared history and a shared vision of a united and prosperous Africa. We can never express our gratitude enough as South Africans for the support that you gave us as a country during our days of struggle, during our most difficult period in the history of our country. You accommodated us, you trained us, you supported us in many, many ways, and you even made enormous sacrifices. And for this, we are eternally grateful. We're eternally grateful, and that is why the bonds between us are not only historic, but they are also the bonds of blood, and we thank you for this. So we've been bound together over decades by a spirit of selflessness, solidarity, and struggle. These attributes have helped us to forge a partnership that has withstood the brutality of the apartheid system and the arrogance of colonial domination. After centuries of exploitation and oppression, our continent is today free from external political dominance, thanks to the selfless sacrifices of those who have gone before us. We are therefore honored to set foot here on the soil of the United Republic of Tanzania, a country that has always been at the forefront of the struggle for the emancipation of the African people. Your Excellency, we are certain that the discussions we have had today will further strengthen the strong historic bonds between our two nations. We trust that our presence here today will enable our two countries to strengthen cooperation in every sphere of life towards the attainment of national, regional, and continental aspirations. The recent launch of the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area, an ambitious initiative to integrate the economies of this continent, provides a further opportunity for our two countries to cooperate for the mutual benefit of our people. We are therefore eager to explore how, as governments, we can work together with our respective business communities to achieve inclusive growth and development. This initiative makes manifest the timeless words of the late President Julius Nyerere when he said, "Without unity, there is no future for Africa." The achievement of consensus amongst African countries on the Continental Free Trade Area is a sign of the future that is to come, of a transformative Africa built on the principle of shared and inclusive growth. Over the coming decades, the population of our continent will grow to well over 1 billion people. The population of cities and universities will expand at an even greater rate, and by 2030, African consumers will spend well over $2.5 trillion. The resultant boom that this offers us is an unprecedented opportunity to leverage this demographic dividend to promote rapid industrialization and development. By realizing this opportunity and grabbing it, it is possible that we will be able to remove the difficulties and deal with those difficulties that we have had in the past. But in order to do so, we will have to remove barriers that prevent business from thriving. Our own country is currently going through a low cycle of growth. In our engagement with the business community, who in our country represent 70% of the broad size of our economy, the other 30 being represented by state-owned enterprises. As we have engaged with them, they have cited a number of reasons why we may be growing at such a low rate. And some of those reasons they have cited have been policy uncertainty and inconsistency over the past few years. They have extolled us to remove barriers that impede business from investing and to enhance the ease of doing business and establish one-stop offices that will ensure that the arbitrariness in the application of laws and regulation and the bureaucracy that seeps in to impede business confidence is done away with. We have paid heed to these concerns and have found that by paying attention to these matters actually increases the confidence of business people in doing business in our country. Some of the issues that they had raised with us were fairly simple and straightforward things, such as visa regulations. They said the visa regulations that we've got are too stringent, and as a result, they prevent not only tourists from coming to South Africa, but they also prevent business travelers, executives, and managers from coming to South Africa easily. And they have said to us, remove all these barriers, and you will see that your economy will begin to respond in a positive way. They have also said, and they identified a number of reasons, and they have also said the arbitrariness of government officials in stopping businesses from growing is something that we should pay attention to. And they cited examples like in the mining industry, for instance, an official will just arrive after a worker has been injured on the finger or in the hand and shut down the mine for the whole day. And they've said, that is too arbitrary. You should not do that because that kills business confidence. And they say increase business confidence and increase their trust in your ability to apply the laws of the land, and you will see that business confidence will increase. This is what we are about now. We are involved in a mission to increase business confidence because we want to attract a lot of these people with a lot of money to come to South Africa to invest. So the creation of a conducive environment for investment is therefore essential for economic growth and job creation. All this can only be achieved through cooperation between business and government, where each party heeds each other's concerns. Where the business sector also does pay heed to the concerns that the government has to say, and vice versa. As we take steps to address these economic challenges that our country faces, we are forging stronger relations with business, but not only with business, with labor as well, and community-based organizations, so that we can tackle job creation and ensure that there is social justice across a number of areas of human endeavor. To generate our economy and to put our country on a growth trajectory, we have decided to focus on a number of key priorities. The one is to transform the economy of our country and create jobs. The other one is to focus on education and skills and health, and to consolidate the social wage through reliable and quality basic services that we want to continue making available to the people of our country. We also are focusing on human settlements and the spatial integration in our country and strengthening the various levels of government, particularly government at local level, which is the real reciprocity of investment. Because when investors invest, they don't invest at State House or in our case at the union buildings. They invest at the local level And that is the area that we want to strengthen. But we also want to ensure that we promote social cohesion in our country and unite the South African nation into a united nation that will tackle the challenges that we face. But another important area is to create a capable developmental state that will tackle incidents of corruption and make sure that we rid our country of corrupt activities and corrupt people. But more importantly, we are focused on another key priority, which is to create a better Africa and a better world. Our focus is to be Pan-African, is to ensure that whatever we do, we will focus on South Africa, no doubt, but focus on our continent as well. And it is for this reason that we felt honored to be invited here, because this is part of our process on ensuring that we unite our efforts in the two countries so that we can tackle economic growth together. Now, through these measures, we are convinced that growth will be the derivative that will flow from our efforts in this regard. South Africa is ready and prepared to craft a new partnership model with Tanzania, where government and business work together to clear the way for more investment to flow between our two countries. I'm therefore extremely pleased that specific project ideas have been presented and discussed during the course of this business forum. Last year, trade between our two countries amounted to $470 million, with South Africa being the largest purchaser of Tanzanian exports. South African firms are among the top 5 largest investors in Tanzania, operating in areas like mining, manufacturing, finance, ICT, and telecoms. President Magufuli informed me that there are some 228 South African companies operating in Tanzania. We are naturally very pleased about this. We also want a number of Tanzanian companies to come and invest in South Africa. Let us match each other as we cross-invest in each other's economies. We confirm that these South African businesses operating here have taken advantage of the wonderful relationship that exists between the government of Tanzania and South Africa. We have reinforced this strong economic base by signing agreements between our two governments to promote investment and to cooperate on issues of investment, trade, and industry. We recognize that to strengthen our economic ties, we must redouble our efforts to promote the industrialization between our two countries and across the African continent. We must learn from the lessons of other regions in the world where imbalanced development has limited the impact of regional integration and threatened the longevity of regional blocs. No African country will be able to reach its potential while its neighbors lag behind. South Africa recognizes this and looks to Tanzania as a strategic partner in this long march to build a prosperous society. We have a shared responsibility to drive forward SADC's initiatives to promote deeper integration and accelerated industrialization. The SADC Industrialization Strategy Roadmap and Action Plan represent a base from which our region can begin building a conducive environment for the development of competitive regional value chains. Our two countries must identify and invest in the value chains that have the greatest potential to drive growth and employment. This will require that we naturally expand our efforts in developing appropriate infrastructure, improving the movement of goods across borders, and building the skills and technologies that are needed to compete in an increasingly digitized global economy. These efforts will unlock enormous value for our business communities. Investments in large cross-border infrastructure projects will improve the business environment. There's just no doubt about that. But they will also stimulate economic activity and could be used to drive African manufacturing. It is estimated that Africa will need to invest between $130 billion and $170 billion a year to meet our infrastructure needs. If there ever was a time for us to do all this, this is the time to do so. But through this, we will be able to empower local businesses to provide the goods and services needed to complete these projects. We must necessarily ensure that regional investments empower regional firms as well, in country. This means opening the path for regional trade, resolving outstanding border bottlenecks, and cooperating to align our customs and inspection systems. Trucks that are traveling between South Africa and Tanzania tend to spend a significant amount of time idle at border gates and border posts, slowing down the movement of goods and raising costs for exporters. We must work to develop regional systems for the movement of goods that enable trade without compromising security. Now, these initiatives are particularly important because of the new opportunities that are being offered to businesses across the African continent by the tripartite free trade area and the continental free trade area. Both of these agreements offer a drastically expanded horizon for African trade and investments, and they also offer the potential for development on a regional productive hub that can be leveraged to compete globally. While the African Free Trade Area Agreement is the first priority, the real work must then begin to ensure that the agreement is implemented and firms are supported to use the available preferences. Now, alongside investment in infrastructure, we need, as a people, to work together to invest in the youth of our countries. The youth of our countries are the future of our continent. For the continental free trade area to succeed, we are going to need those young people to be skilled and to have a knowledge base that will enable them to build competitive industries and to open up new economic frontiers. They are the ones who will inherit the success and the progress that will be yielded by this new free trade agreement. As companies invest, they need to be encouraged to promote the development of local skills and capabilities, not only to sustain their own enterprises, but to also develop the local economies on which business growth depends. Africa has great challenges, but it is also a vast continent of great unprecedented opportunity. Now the whole world is looking at Africa to be the next growth story in the economies of the world. And we as Africans better get ready. We better get ready to reap this great benefit that we are going to, because we are the ones who are going to be leading in the creation of new technologies. We are the ones who are possibly going to be the factory of the whole world, just as China has been the factory of the world. And more, we are going to inherit that mantle, and we better be ready. And our companies sitting here better be ready for this new frontier that is approaching us. It is ours. The hour for Africa has arrived. Now, even as we do this, we have no doubt about the difficulties involved in trying to get onto this platform. Our objective to build thriving, integrated, and inclusive economies will require the work of a generation. But this is work worth doing, and this is a future worth building. Together we fought colonialism, and together we fought apartheid, a horribly evil, oppressive system. We fought both evils and defeated them. Now together, we now have the great opportunity to build a prosperous future for the people of Tanzania and for the people of South Africa, and indeed for the people of our continent as a whole. Let us take this opportunity and make it real. Thank you very much.
Naomba tupige makofi mengi. Tumpongeze na kumshukuru kwa makofi mengi Mheshimiwa Cyril Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini. Naomba tuketi. Waheshimiwa marais, kwa mujibu wa ratiba, kinachofuata sasa ni itifaki ya picha, na kwa heshima kubwa tutaanza na mawaziri, manaibu mawaziri, makatibu wakuu na manaibu makatibu wakuu kutoka Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na wenzetu kutoka Jamhuri ya Afrika Kusini. Ministers, deputy ministers, permanent secretaries and deputy permanent secretaries from United Republic of Tanzania and Republic of South Africa, please come forward for a family photograph. Naomba tuje tupite, tutapanda upande huu, watapita huku, tutapanda huku, alafu tutatokea ule upande wa kushoto wa waheshimiwa marais. Naomba tupite upande huu wa kulia wa waheshimiwa marais, alafu tutatoka kwa upande wa kushoto wa waheshimiwa marais. Waheshimiwa mabalozi na wakuu wa taasisi mbalimbali, mjiandae. Ambassadors and high commissioners and a representative of international institution in Tanzania, please get ready. Asante, naomba tutokee mkono ule wa kushoto. Waheshimiwa mabalozi pamoja na wawakilishi wa taasisi za kimataifa nchini Tanzania. Ambassadors, high commissioners and a representative of international institution in Tanzania, please. Picha inayofuata sasa, naomba wakuu wa vyombo vya ulinzi na usalama kutoka Tanzania na Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Leaders of security organs in Tanzania and South Africa, please. Picha inayofuata, naomba waheshimiwa wabunge wa Bunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania pamoja na Baraza la Wawakilishi tusogee sasa kwa ajili ya picha hiyo. Waheshimiwa wabunge wa Bunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania pamoja na wajumbe wa Baraza la Wawakilishi, picha inayofuata, wenye viti wa bodi za taasisi za serikali na watendaji wakuu, naomba msogee. Wenye viti wa bodi za taasisi za serikali na watendaji wakuu, asante sana waheshimiwa wabunge. Sasa naomba wenye viti wa bodi wa taasisi za serikali na watendaji wakuu sogee kwa haraka haraka. Naomba wenye viti wa bodi na watendaji wa sekta binafsi, chairpersons and executive secretaries and chief executives from SADC business community, please. SADC business, asanteni sana. Business, SADC Business Council wakiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Shamte, tunaomba sasa msogee. South Africa delegates, please get ready. Oh, thank you very much, SADC Business Council. South Africa delegates, please. Picha itakayofuata baada ya hii ya South Africa delegates ni wazee wa mkoa wa Dar es Salaam wakiongozwa na mzee Joseph Butiku. Naomba mjiandae tafadhali. Wazee wote wa mkoa wa Dar es Salaam, viongozi wa chama, viongozi wa dini, thank you very much South Africa delegates. Wazee wa mkoa wa Dar es Salaam sasa wakiongozwa na mzee Joseph Butiku, wazee wa chama, wazee wa viongozi wa dini, Presidential delegation from South Africa, please get ready. Presidential delegation from South Africa. Asante, naomba presidential delegation from South Africa. That will be the last family photograph. Asante sana. Hiyo ndio picha ya mwisho. Waheshimiwa marais, kinachofuata sasa ni nyimbo za taifa, na tutaanza na nyimbo ya taifa ya Tanzania, alafu tutamalizia na ule wimbo wa taifa wa Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Tutaongozwa na brass band ya Jeshi la Polisi. Niwaombe sasa watu wote ndani ya ukumbi tuweze kusimama kwa ajili ya nyimbo hizo za taifa. Brass band. Makofi mengi sana kwa brass band ya Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania. Waheshimiwa marais, kwa nyimbo hizo mbili za taifa ndiyo tunafika mwisho wa ratiba yetu kwa siku ya leo. Nitaomba tuendelee kusimama na Jeshi la Polisi, ile brass band wataimba wimbo maalum ambao Mheshimiwa Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, atakuwa anaondoka na mgeni wake Mheshimiwa Cyril Ramaphosa, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Afrika ya Kusini. Brass band. Naomba tuwashangilie kwa makofi mengi sana brass band ya Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania. Sasa nimkaribishe.
Ninawashukuru sana pia kwa kuichagua Tanzania kuwa mwenyeji wa maadhimisho haya ya SADC. Kwa kweli hii ni heshima kubwa kwa Tanzania. Asanteni sana.
Yetu ndiyo siri ya nguvu na uimara wetu. Umoja wetu ndiyo nguzo yetu, ndiyo siri ya ustawi na kukua kwetu. Mwalimu Nyerere na Mugabe walishirikiana tukavuka.
Historia ile inanipa nguvu na inanikumbusha sisi moja. Historia ile inanipa nguvu na inanikumbusha umuhimu wa sisi kuwa pamoja. Baba Magufuli kwa kuandaa mkutano huu, juhudi zako katika kazi ni mfano kwa upendo huu. Ni lazima rasilimali zetu Afrika zitunufaisha wenyewe wa Afrika. Umoja wetu ndo imara, unathibitisha sisi tufanye kazi kwa juhudi zote. Rise and shine. Umoja wetu ndio imara, unathibitisha sisi ni vinara. Umoja wetu ndio imara, unathibitisha sisi ni vinara.
5-year Development Plan 2, and TIC as Tanzania Investment Center is mandated to coordinate those initiatives. Tanzania Investment Center was established in 1997 by the Parliament law with the role of coordinating, encouraging, promoting and facilitating investment, as well as advising the government on investment policy and related matters. We are hosting one-stop facilitation services where government agencies who are responsible for issuing permits, authorizations, licenses, certificate of incorporation, but also standards certification, as well as certificate of incentives. All these services are rendered under one roof at TIC, and we are pleased to come out so strongly and loud that is one of the best performing one-stop facilitation center in our continent. So you don't have to walk around and knock several doors for you to get services or to get your project registered or your company incorporated. What you need to do is just to come to TIC and we'll do the facilitation from there. In terms of economic performance, as it was said here, for the past decade, Tanzania has been vibrant. The economy is very dynamic. We've registered a growth rate of around 7%. In some years, 6.8, 6.9, and some other years, 7.2, 7.1, but the average is 7%, which is very impressive. And we are ranked 5th in the world, 5th and 2nd in Africa after Ethiopia. The Rand Merchant Bank has ranked Tanzania as the 7th attractive destination for investment. This is from the last year's publication. And we are still progressing very well because a year before we were ranked 9th. So we've jumped 2 steps ahead, and we are going to to do much more after embarking on to implementation of the blueprint for regulatory reforms, as it was said here by His Excellency Honorable Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Why anyone has to choose Tanzania as the investment destination or the investment of choice, the investment destination of choice, we have several reasons. Some of them have been said here. We've been for many years since independence enjoying very stable peace and stability. We've never had civil wars among ourselves in the country, despite over 120 different tribes here in Tanzania. But also, we have a very resilient economy. And as I just showed you in the previous slide on the economic performance, we are doing very well. But also, we have big arable land, over 40 million hectares of arable land, out of which we've been able to exploit only 10 million hectares. So we still have over 34 million hectares still unused, which is suitable for agriculture. And you might be aware that Tanzania is big in size and even bigger compared to the other East African countries combined. So in terms of size on the land, we have plenty of it. To assure investors that for the resources-seeking investment, Tanzania is the choice. We have mineral endowment, we have water bodies, we have tourism attractions, we have everything that you can mention. Every type of mineral that you can mention, you can find it in Tanzania, be it diamond, tanzanite, which is mined only in Tanzania, in the world, gold, copper, nickel, helium, we have everything. But in terms of tourism, His Excellency Mr. President has said here, we are competing with Brazil in terms of the potential in tourism. But in Brazil, we are pretty sure that they don't have Mount Kilimanjaro, but we do have Mount Kilimanjaro. But we have some national parks which are adjacent to sand beaches, which is wonderful, that you cannot find it anywhere in the world. You find a lion walking on the beach at Sadan. It's wonderful and marvelous to see. But we have wild-based migration to Serengeti every year around November, which attracts a lot of tourists here in the country. But also to guarantee investors against any non-commercial risks, we've been able to sign several bilateral investment treaties, but also multilateral investment treaties, including MEGA, the multilateral investment guarantee agents of the World Bank Group, to assure investors that for non-commercial risks, our legal framework and international commitment give them that assurance. But also you are allowed to access exit, and we are members of African Trade Insurance Agents attire. But as you might be aware, Tanzania has 4 major ports, 3 in the mainland, Mtwara, Dar es Salaam, and Tanga, which serve almost 7 landlocked countries who are brothers, depending on Tanzania ports as the international gateway. But also, we have markets for market-seeking investment. We have 162 million population in East Africa, as being founders of the East African community since the defunct EAC of 1967-77 and the new EAC of 1999, or say effective 2000 to date, where we implement common market protocol, and we're about to go for monetary union. You are able to enjoy that market. So from South Sudan to Burundi, Rwanda, Congo, Kenya, Uganda, and Congo has applied for it, for admission, and we hope after some internal processes, Congo will be able to be admitted in the EAC and add up to the 6 current sitting EAC members. SADC We all know we have 16 strongest economies in SADC, but also we are members of the Tripartite Free Trade Area since 2008, where COMESA, ESA, and SADC have decided to join together to open up borders to allow goods and services to move freely across borders of 650 countries. I remember we had a meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt on the 10th of June 2015, where the agreement was signed to allow for free movement of goods across the COMESA, ESA, SADC area. But also we have access to AGOA market, whereby our goods can access American market at quota-free, duty-free arrangement under African Growth Opportunity Act, AGOA, of about 6,000, almost all the products. Same was for everything but arms arrangement with the European Union of 28 minus 1, the BRICS nations. Now, this picture attracts a lot of people. These are the former presidents. Of course, we were missing the father of the nation. Mwalimu Nyerere is not there, he's no more. But the four presidents are still sitting, happy for one another. They share some light, moments. And we find it rare, and probably to assure you that Tanzania is peaceful. We've been experiencing very peaceful transformation from one regime to another, and we still enjoy having these regimes sitting together, sharing their experiences, and try to advise one another. This is a set of basic incentives. We have the customs-related, which are duty-related fiscal incentives. And of course, we have allowances for capital and depreciation allowances for some sectors. Some sectors attract 100% capital allowances. Others from 37.5 to 50% depreciation allowance, depending on the sector. And some of the specific sectors have been allocated an exemption of corporate income tax, so as we attract and stimulate that sector. For non-fiscal incentives, the incentives which are not related to taxes, this includes unconditional transfer of after-tax profit, which is dividend, distributor dividend, but also to have automatic immigrant quota, where you can bring in expatriates of your choice if you think that the project can benefit from the expertise which you cannot easily source locally. But also we have a set of criteria for strategic investor status, whereby special incentives which are over and above those ones which have been prescribed by the existing laws, they are granted to such an investment, as long as for the foreigners investment level, the capital investment level is beyond $50 million US, and there are some other basic criteria to follow. So for this one, an investor has to come up with a proposal to the government that they would wish to be exempted from some of the requirements of the law, so that they can undertake their project comfortably because of the size of the project and the impact that the project is going to bring to the economy. But also, I decided to share with you that for South Africa, if you choose to invest today, you are not going to be the first one. As President Cyril Ramaphosa and His Excellency Dr. John Pombe Magufuli had said in their remarks, that we have about 228 South African investment projects in the country registered at Tanzania Investment Center, with the total value of the investment of about $806.05 million US. So we can see those investments are in almost every sector of the economy. And we are happy that with our industrialization drive, we've been able to attract about 63 out of 228, 63 projects that are related to manufacturing, which is a good sign of the economy responding to our industrialization policy. This is the top 15 source countries of investment, the foreign direct investment in Tanzania. South Africa ranks 11th, and we hope that after this forum, South Africa is going to be in the top 5. For the African countries, South Africa ranks 4th after Mauritius, Kenya, and Egypt as source countries. And in the SADC, it's only Mauritius that is ahead of South Africa as a source country of foreign direct investment. So we believe, despite that the Mauritius has a smaller number of investment projects, but the value of those investments are huge. And South Africa has a good number. It's a bigger number than anyone in SADC, in Tanzania, but the value of investment is not that big, such that Mauritius, with only 69 investment projects, has surpassed South Africa in terms of ranking. In terms of investment opportunities that Tanzania do offer, His Excellency, President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, in his remarks here, he specifically mentioned automobile industry as an area where he would like to see South Africa overflowing its investment to Tanzania in that particular subsector. And in our 5-year development plan, too, we have specified the automobile industry as one of the areas of focus. So, because we have huge potential in logistics, but we're importing used cars. And you say, no, we don't have to continue with this. We can easily attract our friends and brothers to come and do the assembling, not necessarily manufacturing to start with, but the assembling of the automobile here in Tanzania, so that you take advantage of the lucrative market that we offer. But we also have pharmaceutical and medical products. As it was said, about almost 84.5% of the pharmaceuticals and medical products in Tanzania, let alone the SADC market, is imported. So this is a big number. And the edible oil, we're importing almost all the edible oil. We have huge potential from the cotton seed, sesame. We have maize, corn, that we can extract oil from it. We have palm trees or palm cultivation potential. We have sunflower potential. But we need to see more investments coming and benefit from the opportunity. The cotton and textile is also a potential area that we attract investment. Real estate, especially for Dodoma. Dodoma is a new capital city. We've moved the capital city to Dodoma, and we need major investments, especially in the real estate in Dodoma. President Magufuli, in his remarks here, he said Tanzania ranks number 2 in Africa after Ethiopia in terms of livestock population, and we need to take advantage of that in terms of raising and fattening, live animal trading, but more importantly, slaughtering, to have abattoirs here, but to have meat processing, for which we have huge market in the Gulf countries and China, but also leather and leather products, and of course, retailing and market, and also milk as well. We have a gap sugar of around 300,000 tons a year And we have several sugar manufacturing companies here. And of course, we have Hilovo from South Africa, who are operating Kilombero. But we want to capitalize on our potential. We have huge potential, and almost in every region, not only Morogoro of my friend, but also everywhere. So we would like to see South Africans, our fellow brothers, coming to join us and exploit the gap. But fishing and aquaculture, Tanzania enjoys. Tanzania enjoys complete access to the major water bodies in Africa. We have Lake Victoria, for which 50% of it is on the Tanzanian side. We have Lake Tanganyika, we have Lake Nyasa, but also we have navigable rivers, and the stretch from Mtwara down south where we border with Mozambique to Tanga where we border with Kenya of about 1,424 kilometer long ocean, but also exclusive economic zone of about 200 kilometers from the mainland. So we have that potential, plus the new cage and pond fishing industry. And in the mining sector, as I said, we have everything in the mines, but would like to focus more on beneficiation. And His Excellency President Magufuli has reiterated his interest to see the South African brothers coming and put up processing plants for gold refinery, but also smelting, to be able to separate copper, silver, and other rare elements in the gold concentrates, so that we take advantage of the potential and the resources that we are still controlling. And for the infrastructure, we have currently construction of the railway line of standard gauge level, and of course we've already accomplished the feasibility study for the new standard gauge railway from Mtwara to Mbamba Bay. Mbamba Bay is where our port is, the other side of Lake Nyasa, so that we save Malawi as well, to branch out in Songea, to go to where we have iron ore and coal in Ludewa, Liganga Mchuchuma, coal and iron ore deposits. And we also have Tanga, Moshi, Arusha, and Musoma rail line. But also to put up different other infrastructures, including airports, including the new airport to be built in Dodoma, which is the new capital city. We have oil and gas potential. Since 2004, we are producing gas. Lindi and Mtwara have been very prominent in producing gas, and around 30% of our power or energy, electricity is from gas. And we also have a thirst of seeing LNG, LPG products, and gas byproducts or petrochemicals coming from our gas. Tourism and leisure, as I said, we have huge potential in tourism. Whether we have about 16 national parks in the country, we have game reserves, but that's Mount Kilimanjaro. But Tanzania is very well known for the Ngorongoro crater and the Lake Tanganyika, which is the second deepest lake in the world. And we have Lake Victoria, and the 6th tallest tree in the world, and the tallest in Africa. It's here in Tanzania. And of course, the freestanding volcanic mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro, that's the highest mountain in Africa. That's Mount Kilimanjaro, of about 5,895 meters high, which you can easily enjoy. But also we have, this is the animal migration in Serengeti. And you can access Tanzania through various connections, including Air Tanzania and South African Airways. And this is the local connections. In terms of trade, these are products that we can trade with you. And some of them, His Excellency Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, our president, had already mentioned them in his remarks. I would like to thank you so much. These are the global experiences in Tanzania. So can I say thank you for listening? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mwambe, the Executive Director of the Tanzania Investment Center. Let's now proceed to the presentations from our friends from South Africa. And we start with the first presentation, which will be done by Mr. Paul Levy, Director, Stengwage Bridge from South Africa. I'm told him, you're welcome. Come, please. I've been informed that you are coming up with a great project. So let us hear what you have to offer.
Program Director, our sincere appreciation for the opportunity to come and share with you what we've been doing in Tanzania. I'm quite excited that there are opportunities that we have seen here. Steinweg Bridge, we have been in Tanzania for the past 8 years. We are a logistic business, mainly servicing heavy industries, mines from the Copper Belt, DRC, Zambia. And we have established and invested into fully understanding the opportunities that the Tazara line gives through Dar es Salaam. In the last 18 months, we have partnered with Tazara through an access agreement between Tazara and Traction JV with Calabash. I must say Calabash is a Zambian business. Then we've been able to create a link between ourselves as a South African company, Traction as a South African company, and Calabash, a Zambian company, to promote and work together with Tazara in development of the Tazara corridor through Dar es Salaam. As you will know, if you look at the future, there are 3 opportunities in terms of these corridors. And Dar es Salaam stands a very unique opportunity to improve its services and claim victory. And all these other 2 corridors, by the way, including the North-South corridor, will be able to learn a lot from what we would have achieved in servicing the Copper Belt areas, including, we know in that Copper Belt area, there's a huge opportunity that comes with involvement of or servicing the DRC. We are looking at taking what we've been doing for the last 18 to 2 years, focusing on the Tazara opportunity. We're looking at taking that to the phase 2. And what is that phase 2? We want to invest about 76 million in infrastructure. This infrastructure includes rail equipment such as wagons, locomotives, and it also includes a rail servicing yard situated in Dar es Salaam. We are looking to increase our collaboration with Tazara. And I think I need to emphasize this. We don't see ourselves as a competitor to Tazara, but we see ourselves as a core operator with them. In the last 18 months, 100% of our cargo that we are servicing through Tazara was not a displacement from Tazara to us, but a pure movement from road to rail. SADC as a region has a responsibility to look after infrastructure. Part of that infrastructure, rail plays a very critical role. And part of that is to ensure that we coexist with our road transportation programs. I mean, that will make sure that we protect our roads and we also free the congestion from our roads. I mean, one of the issues, as we all know, rail is able to move goods in bulk bulks, and that's what we are aiming to do. Then whatever that we've been able to achieve in the last 2 years, we've been able to move nothing from rail to rail, but rail to road. And we hope that we will continue working with Tazara and other local partners in ensuring that we make Dar es Salaam a viable corridor. These are our other areas where we are operating from. As I'm saying, we are a SADC business, proudly so. Our head office is based in South Africa, where I'm situated. But we are also in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia. And of recent, we are exploring opportunities both in Angola and in Namibia. I mean, in logistics, as we know, the biggest issue is time. Time is the master in logistics. If you cannot master time, and this is one of the issues that I was quite excited when the two excellencies, our presidents, were summarizing here, they were emphasizing. We need to ensure that we really deal with our trade relationship as a SADC country so that we can free movement of goods and services from one country to another. And there is nothing as perfect as focusing on rail development. As I've said, our relationship with Tazara through the JV of Traction and Calabash have been able to ensure that this link between ourselves and the Copper Belt is realized. And that's what we're here to try and make sure that we emphasize and we improve on it by ensuring that we improve the rail infrastructure and our client relationship. I mean, we've got a facility which I'll show you later on in Dola, which is our consolidation center. I mean, through that, we are able to consolidate all goods from that region and able to service them via the Tazara line. I just thought that I must share something as an experience of what we have achieved in South Africa. This was 2004, situated in the port of Durban. This is 5 kilometers, between 3 and 5 kilometers outside the port of Durban, Bayhead. This is how this area looked, and there's a big warehouse which was empty. And you can see that other area outside how it was. We negotiated a lease with Transnet. And in 2006, this is how that particular area started looking. In 2017, at the back of our successes and volumes that we've been able to bring as a logistic provider through the Port of Durban, we had a big challenge where the biggest fire happened and affected our Durban facility. But we never gave up. We continued reinvesting and rebuilding that facility. I mean, today, this factory and the facility, this is how it looks. And one of our biggest achievements and excitements is the fact that 3 weeks ago, we've been able to test a train between ourselves and Transnet. This is just to show you that we are a rail link logistic business. And that's how we differentiate ourselves between our competitors. We believe that rail is the efficient system and mode of transport that could ensure that countries such as South Africa and Tanzania service the landlocked neighbors and not only activate their own economies, but also the economies of the neighbors. I just want to sum up. This is our Dar es Salaam warehouse. We are working here. It's not a theory. I just want to sum up through here, this structure, this slide. What are we looking for? I mean, one of our biggest challenges is congestion in the city or in the port of Dar es Salaam. And what does it result in? It results in having us using our wagons as a storage facility, which is the most expensive way of trading. We are looking to invest in a land that we have identified, and we put proposals in Mhadhara to make sure that that land becomes a consolidation between ourselves and the Mhadhara service through all the goods and services we are bringing from Zambia. I mean, through that we'll be able to minimize, and I'll make very practical examples. We load our trains in Dola between 5 and 7 hours, and it takes us between 6 and 7 days to have those wagons free to go back to the system. And you can see what we are trying to do. Then one of the investment that we are looking at doing, about 80 million rand, is to make sure that we have that facility and we can free steel-to-steel service. Our rail can move up and down, and we can reach the 50 trips that we want to achieve in the next 2 to 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing excites us more than to ensure that SADC, our relationship and partnership together with the Republic of Tanzania, service and benefits our people, create jobs. Through facilities and businesses like ours, in brief, we are able to do that. And in our 8 years being here, We are looking now to take our opportunity and the investment to the next level, and we hope that we'll be assisted and make sure that we are properly anchored as one of your proud companies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. That was a good opportunities for Tanzania. The second presentation will be from Mr. Dion De Kock, Chief Executive Officer, FL Smith. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Program Director and guests. First of all, I want to say thanks for this opportunity. In business, we don't take this for granted, so we really appreciate your time. So I want to talk a little bit about mining and cement, and in particular about opportunities that we believe exist in Ghana with mining. FL Smith is a Danish-listed company. We employ about 12,000 people in 60 countries, and our annual turnover is in the region of about 2.83 billion US dollar. We're a market-leading supplier of technology, engineering, and products for the mining and cement industry. And I forgot to advance the slide presentation. So, yeah, so we're a leading supplier of engineering equipment for the mining and cement industry. And we have 7 regions. And I just want to make one correction. I'm not the CEO of FL Smith. I'm the region president for Sub-Sahara Africa and Middle East, which is the purple area, and Tanzania falls into that area. We are well established in Africa. Of course, our head office is in South Africa, but we have hubs, business hubs in Ghana, Mozambique, Botswana, and Nigeria. But the big white spot for us at the moment is in Tanzania, and we're looking at opportunities within Tanzania. So this is our facility in South Africa, one of 4 manufacturing facilities that we have. This specific facility is about 10,000 square meters, and about 60% of what we produce there is exported. The reason I want to mention that, as a Danish multinational, we made a conscious decision last year to invest 100 million rand, which is a huge and significant investment into that facility. And we've stayed true to our vision that we will invest in the countries that we operate in. In that facility, we also service already companies in Tanzania. This is a cage for a mine hoist system for Acacia Mining in Bulyanhulu. And we have the capacity to really serve the mining industry and the cement industry here in Tanzania. Currently, with the mines that we have here, we are in daily service with them, and also with the operations of cement. So typically our customers will be Rio Tinto, BHP, Anglo American, Heidelberg Cement, and so forth. But we're also looking for opportunities for smaller junior miners. And this is part of the discussion that I want to have today. In short, we have all the full flow sheet for a cement plant. We manufacture, design, and engineer the cement plant, and we have all the equipment that goes into that cement plant. In most of the instances, we also have to operate and maintain that plant because the customers want to only trade in the commodity, which is cement. As far as mining is concerned, we do all of the engineering, design, procurement, manufacturing, and supply of input, crushing, and conveying right through to the beneficiation of the minerals and producing the final concentrate. Of that flow sheet that you see there, we own about 90% of the equipment that goes into that. And like I said, that's input, crushing and conveying, milling, crushing, all the sedimentation, the flotation, the concentration, the dry stack tailing, and everything that you need for any mineral processing plant, whether it's gold, coal, platinum, or any precious metals. Of particular interest to Tanzania is the gold process sheet. And in that process flow there, we have an offering that can serve our customers, but also not only the likes of BHP Billiton or Anglo American, but also junior miners, to establish a modular plant that can tap into the resources that you have in Tanzania. So we pride ourselves in innovation, and we do that normally within our tech centers. We have 7 tech centers globally, one of which is in Johannesburg, and then also we have, like I said, 60 countries globally that we work with, and we get close to the customer. But you need a willing buyer, you need a willing seller, you need the political will, and you need the conducive environment where there's entrepreneurs that you can be truly innovative. And that's an opportunity that we see in Tanzania. This is an example of a case study we did. It's with a mine in, or not a case study, an actual example of where we've partnered with our customers, with local government, to look at dry stack tailings. So some of you may know that Vale is a big organization in Brazil, and they had a huge accident with a tailings dam that collapsed. They lost many lives there, and this is a solution for that. You will not need tailings dam for mining, so you can dry stack it, and that would really take out that environmental risk. I think in 10 years' time from now on, governments and officials in the mining industry will make this a prerequisite to safeguard people in the communities. So what about Tanzania? Gold production, if you look on the left-hand graph, 50% of all exploration that's going on today is about gold. You'll look at that one graph there, the yellow line is the gold production in South Africa is now less than what we had in 1981. And yet, the gold price reached $1,500 a ton last week or the week before. People will always go to gold. People will always invest in gold, especially if the markets and the trade relationship between the US and China is not where it's supposed to be. But that's a huge opportunity. The slide is not so clear, but on the top there you have Australia, and then South Africa, where most of the gold resources are. Ghana sits in other. And what is interesting in Ghana, if you look at the pre-feasibility studies, the feasibility studies, and the grassroots projects, there's plenty projects currently ongoing in Tanzania where we can partner with the junior miners, or we would prefer also with entrepreneurs and business owners. It's a huge opportunity, and why are big companies not investing in that opportunities? It is perhaps because of the type of deposit. It could be about the accessibility of the deposit, and in most cases it's not big enough and sufficient enough for them to make huge investments, which open a huge door for junior miners and entrepreneurs and local business owners. Where do you find 50% of the gold deposits? It's in what they call quartz pebble conglomerates, and these quartz pebble conglomerates mostly appear in Tanzania, Brazil, and in Ghana. If you look at the map for Tanzania, it's a similar map to what one of my previous speakers had up there. You do get these gravity gold conglomerates, especially in the euro areas. And what do you need to do there? Big mining companies will not invest in their deposits, and the reason for that is simply that it doesn't make economic sense. So the value proposition from F.L. Smith is that we have looked at what we can offer. We have the products, we have the projects, and we have the serviceability. We have state-of-the-art equipment, and gold is our field of expertise, so that we can take that expertise and partner locally with government, the owners of the resource, and the entrepreneur to exploit that resource. So we've developed a flow sheet where the entrepreneur can process about 40 tons per hour, produce about 140 kilograms of gold per annum, and pay the plant back in a period of 3 years if the gold price is at 1,300 tons. If you just increase that case study to 1,400, where it's currently at, the payback for that plant is in 1.8 years. That flow sheet means that wherever you have artisanal miners, where you have access to the ore body, you can take that plant, put it up, it's a modular plant, and you can be producing gold bar on site. So it will go milling, concentrating, leaching, gold bar with electrowinning and smelting. It's a huge opportunity. So it ticks all the boxes that our presidents talked about empowering local entrepreneurs, making sure that we export to Tanzania, but that we also develop the skills locally. Furthermore, it's full beneficiation, full utilization and exploitation of the resource locally. This is a picture of a modular plant for waste chrome recovery, and the proud owner of that plant is sitting in the audience here, Mr. Buang Moloto. Buang, if you could perhaps just stand up. We made an investment of about $20 million in 2 of those modular plants, and that has gone into a mine in South Africa where Buang, as the owner of those plants, is recovering the chrome from the waste stream in the UG2 plant, and the investment in that community will generate about 60 to 70 jobs directly employed in that position. And Buang and we started discussing this together with Mining Pakisa. Dr. Edwin Richkin facilitated that discussion, and it was a simple thing. We had the technology, we had the political will, we had the entrepreneur, and we could do a deal. That's what they say. If there's a willing buyer and a willing seller, you can make a deal. So we are looking for the same opportunities here in Ghana. So if you look at that, I have 2 more slides, then I will end. This is what we've referred to before. You can feed it at 40 tons per hour, and the reason we made it such a small plant was to make sure that we can rather empower small junior miners, more of them, rather than to go for too big a size, and then it becomes difficult to finance the project. This entire plant will then, as I've mentioned, sorry, how do I go back? Anyway, the plant will produce 140 tons of gold. The payback is between 1.8 and 3 years, depending on where the gold price sits. If it sits at 1,500, which currently is today, then that plant pays itself back in 14 months. It's a huge opportunity because the annual turnover for that plant would be $6 million, and the profitability of the plant, taken into consideration all the cost of production of the ore, as well as the operating of that plant, will be in the region of $2.5 million per annum. So what do we need? We have a call to action, and I think we're appealing to the governments of South Africa, but especially Tanzania, to make us part of your vision. We want to be part of the team and part of your dream. We have the technology. We would like to get the introduction to the right players and the right people in the market, because we typically deal with the big mining houses. What we need is introduction to the entrepreneurs, the owners of the ore bodies, the communities where we operate. And then, sorry, did I not advance that again? My apologies. Anyway, I've skipped that one slide. So what we would need also is the introduction to the business people, access to the ore bodies, making sure that we can introduce the technology. We need to make sure that we encourage foreign direct investments. We will do that the same as we've done in South Africa, into a local service hub. We're looking for people that can not only represent us here, but also run the mining plants. And in the end, I believe that's a huge opportunity with the untapped resource that's currently lying there. Thank you very much.
So are you here already? Not yet. No. But you heard the president saying that we need investors in the mining sector. Yep. So you are more than welcome. And I think does junior miners mean the same way as small miners?
Small miners.
Is the same as junior miners?
Operators, junior miners actually also listed. So we're looking for below junior miners.
Below junior miners.
Owner operators, entrepreneurs and businessmen locally in South Africa.
Thank you very much. I think for those of you from the mining sector in Tanzania, this is very interesting. Jamani, kuna mtu madini hapa? Mpo eh? make sure you talk to this guy after these presentations. And I will also talk to you because I'm also a stakeholder in the mining sector. Thank you very much, Dion. Now the third presentation is from the efficient power. Efficient power. You're the one. Come. You use this one to advance your slides.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. I'm Warwick Jackson. I'm the CEO of Efficient Power and Turnkey Modular. Turnkey Modular is a company that really packages technical solutions very similar to the solution you've just witnessed. We have an approach which allows us to put the effort into making sure we can get items to site and into communities that are tried, tested, and fully commissioned when they arrive. Our approach is not to do this by ourselves. It never works that way, and we have great pride in finding partners and finding people that we can work collaboratively with to get our projects off the ground. This happens to move into an area of interest for us, which is waste to energy or waste to value. There are local companies that we are or will have access to through our local partners in South Africa. We have adopted an approach of partnering rather than competing, and part of that process was a company called Waste Plan, who is mentoring a local company here in Tanzania, the Recycler. And it's to leverage off these relationships and this way of thinking to try and bring real value and try and bring dignity to people in areas where waste has become a major problem. Waste is clearly one of our interest points, but we have a very diverse offering of modular solutions, and they range from the power sector, generation, fuel storage, and even into radio astronomy of all things. Now, waste is always seen as a major issue in every part of the world, whether it be your sewages, your plastics, your hazardous wastes, and as a general rule, perpetuate the lack of dignity in areas that deserve better. Now, we need to start thinking of waste as a commodity. It's certainly not a burden. It has calorific value, and you can use that to stimulate business. It's that simple. You can translate waste into dignity in business. We have a philosophy that diverts waste from landfill and extracts its value. It has the opportunity of also taking care of sewage sludges, and what it does is identify the right technologies in small modular packages for a given market or a given location and their specific needs. These are the things that you should be looking to get out of your waste. You shouldn't be filling a landfill site. You should be looking to turning waste into solutions. They are easily done. They are tried and tested. They work individually, but they work better together. Each one of those processes have byproducts. They have waste heats. They have various other functions that work in a symbiotic relationship if you want them to. But more importantly, they are very simple to start in small modules, and you build on each other and they feed on each other, and you develop your waste park, your smart waste park, to deal with things in the right approach, and you don't try and build a 100 megawatt plant in the first attempt. You do it in a small amount. You take care of your plastics to diesel. Very simple process. It's being done for a substantial amount of time, and that then builds into others: the generation of electricity, the use of waste heats, biodigestion, fertilizers as a byproduct, and biogases. There are a large array of waste. This happens to just be a case study of one of the projects we've been involved in, which is 180 odd tons per day of waste. It has quite a diverse offering, and the ones in orange are the ones that can bring you value, can bring you energy, can bring you heat. The others can bring you money as well in terms of recyclables. And by bringing on modular plants in a sensible fashion that matches the needs, you're able to deal with your waste and divert it from landfill. You don't need to be living on waste dumps and have children rifling through rubbish. The opportunity here is to use your waste to generate energy, to grow businesses, bring jobs, and not waste handling jobs, meaningful jobs, real jobs, and jobs that change people's lives and change communities and then self-sustain the growth of these plants. The modular approach is the key. F.L. Smith see it, lots of other players see it. If you're able to bring on what you need when you need it at an affordable amount, it's easily and quickly deployed and will work when it gets there. Those are the things that make the difference in getting plants functional and to revenue or to resource as quick as possible. Our approach is also to be very involved with the people who are going to use it, who are going to run it, and the key with these solutions is to do it in a community for a community. Don't export the waste through some strange wheeling agreement or have all sorts of issues around extraction of power or vacation of power from an area. The idea here is to convert your waste into energy for a community that needs it in an area that is short of it. On high level, this is really what we're trying to get right. If you look for a waste park and treat it as a smart park where you don't have a one-fits-all solution, it's not a big plant bought from Europe that only has a very specific waste stream that it can deal with. If you've got something that's nimble and able to adjust as the waste streams adjust, as your community starts to evolve and become more advanced, your waste streams naturally change. And European waste streams are not African waste streams. So buying European plants is not going to help the situation. Extracting the knowledge from those European plants will, however. So the idea here is to take care of the big issues of diversion of waste from landfill, municipal sites, industrial sites, extract the value from them when you can, and then use the product of your waste conversion plant to drive small business. That's really what you're trying to get right. You're trying to use that to have small communities that start up bakeries, use aquaponics, vertical growing, an amazing opportunity for vertical growing and the yields you can get out of it. Dramatic reductions in the use of water, land space, and the production of consistent high quality food. And there are a number of areas of interest. We would like to find areas in the country that have particular waste problems and are looking for solutions of converting it into a commodity rather than a burden. In a nutshell, we are looking for the ability to turn your waste into an asset that supports the economy or the growth of a local economy and creates meaningful jobs and helps with environmental issues. As I said, we've got a partner in Waste Plan, GAM as well, and the real mission is to develop in a very systematic approach solutions to general waste, which is a scourge of the continent. Turnkey Modular is born from a 50-year-old business. We've done a range of really interesting things over the years, but our real strength is our ability to package partnered technology. We build a lot of substations, modular substations, power units. We've transported them all over the African continent. We were very fortunate to be selected to build all 64 antennas for the square kilometer array. The most advanced radio telescope in the world was built in Africa by Africans. 80% local content. It's possible when you have a willing technical provider who partnered with us to develop what is a flagship example of what Africans can do when given an opportunity. The other key is making sure, and we've certainly did it for the square kilometer array, that everything is done in a controlled environment. You'll see one of our typical e-houses in the end picture there, which is 100% commissioned. Every item of it is functional before it heads off to site. And what we do is we involve the end clients, so they come in and get involved in the commissioning. They own the product before it leaves. The offerings are quite diverse. It's not just a waste solution, it's a packaged solution of any real description. We're fortunate enough to win the National Steel Awards for that, and it is all around the ability to build every single item in that yoke and pedestal was built on this continent. So it is possible, and we can get some of the most advanced things done right here in our backyard. It's interesting that people who knew nothing about radio astronomy 5 years ago are now the people that are looked to for answers around the future of the square kilometer array. The technologies we look at are also clean. We're not interested in someone who's going to come along and burn waste material and create a worse hazard than you had before. Our partners in Europe are a company called Coronolis, who have developed some of the most advanced gasifying plants in the world. This is in Cele in Slovenia, and is immediately, I was hoping to go back one slide if you could. It's in the middle of a residential area. What's interesting about this slide, though, is it just shows how massively lower than the European standards the emissions from this process is. By gasifying your waste rather than combusting it, you have an incredible environmental improvement in the performance of the plant and the health of the people around it. That previous slide showed a plant in a residential area that produces 18 megawatts of thermal heat. Here's a real opportunity for the use of cashew nuts. It's criminal that cashew nuts are taken from this country and the value is not added here. Just as we send a lot of our iron ore out of our country and other resources, the opportunity exists to use the cashew nut husk to generate the heat you need to process it. And not through combustion, through gasification. It's been done before successfully in a number of fields. You go through places where rice husks are used to run 100 megawatt plants through a gasification process. It's relatively simply done, and it can dramatically change the value proposition of the export product. Locally add the value. Don't send a raw cashew nut out the door. Rather add the value locally. We're involved in a firm on the south coast of South Africa who services 20 macadamia farms and processes all the nuts in one location before exporting it, adding all the value locally. Vertical growing. We're about to commence another plant similar to this in Portugal, of all places. So we're exporting our technology. This is the real opportunity to take CO2 from your various processes. When you've got biodigesters, you've got CO2. Use the CO2 to grow organic biomass. The very successful plant in Ragusa that produces, this particular one produces biodiesel. But the opportunities for microalgae and high-value products is quite incredible. This is an equivalent of 300 tons per hectare growth. That is orders of magnitude greater than normal farming. The key, though, is our partners. Waste Plan are some of the continent leaders in waste management. You have to have a proper waste management system if you're going to utilize the value of the waste. So you partner with people who know what they're doing, and they have already established partnerships with the recycler locally. They run facilities throughout South Africa and Southern Africa. This is the Kraaifontein plant in Cape Town that was built in record time and services a vast array of recyclables, up to 70,000 tons per annum. And their systems and processes exist. They have instant access to where their waste is, how it's managed, how it's got to site. Here is the plastics to diesel. So your non-valuable plastics can very easily become a fuel, even a grade of diesel if you wish. But kerosenes are very simple, and it's the use of the problem plastics. In my previous slide, you would have seen 46 tons of that plastic was not usable for recycling. It's perfectly usable for light fuels. And there's a plant in the Gauteng area that consumes 30 tons of waste plastic on a daily basis and turns it into fuel. So the opportunity for proven technologies, their packaging and modularization is very simply done. I mean, the vertical growing has immense opportunities too. It's a high value, products can be done in very compact areas. I won't bore you with the detail of this, but it really talks about the mass balance opportunity for multiple modular waste processes, where they all have a symbiotic relationship, where the waste heats from one will service the others, where the CO2 output is the feedstock for another, and you're able to generate electricity, fuels, diesels, biomass, various different valuable gases as well. There are some very simple and easy to implement cycles that make controlled growth very simple, making use of aquaponics, where you're using fish as part of the circle of the transfer of nutrients. Black soldier flies and fish and the vegetables are the perfect combination. They each feed off each other and give a really unique way of growing food in a very, very dense area that frees up all sorts of agricultural land and brings real quality and control. The thinking too is you don't need a lot of area to do this. These are small modular plants. We believe in a decentralized model. Large, big factories don't help. This is, you bring a plant into a relatively small area and you make sure your aquaponics and your various small businesses are literally over the fence. There's no wheeling agreements. It's about transferring power and heat to the small businesses that will have benefit from them immediately over the border. This is the opportunity to grow business from waste. This is the need for multiple entrepreneurs who would be looking to join in where they have the need for power, fuels and training. So I mean the whole part of this deal is to ensure that with this the knowledge of how to operate these plants, the growth of those businesses is also part of the whole process. There is a real opportunity here to use what is normally a burden to most societies and turn it into a genuine asset. And we'd be very interested in finding anyone who would be interested in exploring this further with us. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Efficient power, everything in one company. That's a lot of technologies. Thank you very much. And Chairman, did you hear about cashew nut processing? I think you are interested in that one. So thank you very much. And the next presentation will be from Oricon Company. You're welcome. You have a presentation? Yeah, you can advance this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, asante.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andiles Kosana. I am from Oregon. We are an engineering and infrastructure advisory firm based in 14 countries, of which Tanzania is one. I'm here to tell you about the SOMAFCO Future Africa Precinct. And this precinct is something very special. Oh, let me go back. So, what is SOMAFCO? For us, it's a strategic project that, that combines both cultural and economic projects, which will upskill both South African and Tanzanian youth. We want to preserve and promote the South African liberation heritage in Morogoro, founded from the 1969 conference. Why this is important is because on our continent, our liberation movements have been the source of the governments that we've got right now. And it's very interesting that we don't have too many places where we celebrate positively what they stand for. Very often when you think about liberation movements, they tend to be, it's about looking back into the past. We would like to initiate a positive and future-orientated celebration of where we come from as Africans and Africans who coordinate amongst each other as peoples who can live together going forward. So the project is based in Mazimbu. Why Mazimbu? Mazimbu is in Morogoro. If you don't know yet, if you don't know that as yet, because this particular site is the site of cooperation at a difficult time, yes, but a time when the then Tanzanian president and the president of the ANC, who had a vision of what was possible in the future, and dared to bring it to life. Mazimbu, as it stands now, in its current state, is a dream realized. It's a place where we as Africans have looked into the future and positively looked at how we can build ourselves, our identity, but also the economy and the skills that we need for that economy, albeit 50 years ago. So for this, the physical area of Mazimbu being the confluence of all this history is also quite important, because the way that we are thinking about developing it, we think it should be developed to become heritage sites for the trails, for the heritage value that is in there, but also an investment that is going to be linking up into the rest of the region. In all the presentations that you've heard today, you've heard about the strategic location of Tanzania. In Tanzania, Morogoro is one of those areas that has many roads, many paths, many economic paths, much trade that comes through that particular region. Its strategic importance, we believe, we can begin to unlock but through a memorial interpretive center that we would establish there. Why now? It's important because launching this project at this time is the same time that is the 50th anniversary of the consultative conference of the ANC. Why this is important is that 50 years ago at this time, one of the liberation movements was able to turn a corner, a very important point that was facilitated by the then CCM, which is still one of the leading parties in Tanzania. That is it's an important time to celebrate that. It's also the 50th anniversary of the Solomon Mahlangu Freedom College, the idea that has been realized from Mawar Tambo and Julius Nyerere, as well as this weekend being the 39th summit. This is the perfect time for us to start to look into the future and look towards a positive future-oriented view of ourselves around development and hope. So in short, The SOMAFCO precinct is it's a transformative approach to partnership and growth for both the cultural and economic returns. So what we have in mind there is that we're envisioning a future-oriented celebration of African heritage, which means that we're going to be plugging into the industrial development, plugging into trends of modernization, skills building, youth, addressing the issues of youth unemployment, but also doing that in the context of a place of meaning, a place of reflection, and a place of visioning, giving the character of who we are, because 50 years ago we still had it, and we still have it now, giving that to the youth of our collective nation. But it's also the catalyst for a new and imminent future that includes preserving our current heritage, economic growth in the region, and social infrastructure and development. The SOMAFCO precinct, the Future Africa precinct, is aimed at strengthening Tanzanian and South African relations, and taking that further. In this presentation, we've summarized it. There's 4 critical steps in this. We begin by celebrating our heritage, the fact that our collective Pan-African political history was and still can be progressive and future-orientated. Do that through celebrating through celebrating on-site a center, a memorial center, but also a place where people can go, not something where we museumize our history. In so doing, plug into the local industrial and agro-processing development. On site in Mazimbu, there is a furniture factory. Furniture factory is very close to the textiles. There's a textile factory about 2 kilometers away that has been recently invested in. It's part of the industrial development that Tanzania is driving towards. Let's grow those industries. Morogoro, as you know, is one of the centers of agricultural produce in Tanzania. And we feel there is already infrastructure in Mazimbu from that time, from 40 years ago, which links to agro-processing. With our partners, both from South Africa and Tanzania, we need to enhance that and entrench what the agricultural producing capability is sitting in Morogoro. The next step will be leveraging the reliable rail link that is coming to Morogoro. The standard gauge railway is terminating only 77 kilometers from the current site of the SOMAFCO Future Africa precinct of Mazimbu. The rail passes by on the other side of the Mazimbu site. We feel that there's an opportunity to link up the agricultural product, the industrial production, to leverage that into the rail as a quick and reliable way of getting it produce both in and out of Morogoro. And then, ironically, Morogoro is also well located for the location of, located in the grid, the Tanzanian power grid, for the location of renewable energy. In the SOMAFCO Future Africa precinct, we are looking at introducing a solar farm. And the solar farm would be able to feed into large battery energy storage, where at that point in that municipality, you are able to plug into the network that feeds the whole of Tanzania. With large battery storage, you are able to better regulate how you use energy that will be coming from Stigler's Dam, that hydropower development that will be coming from there, and any other sources. In this way, we are making sure that the whole of Tanzania is able to benefit from investments that will be taking place in this current location. Just as a bit of a vision, when we look at Mazimbu, it is the current site of the SOMAFCO Future Africa precinct. We've divided it into 9 precincts where different things will be taking place. The first one, number A, there is a gateway precinct where we'll be developing an iconic architectural feature that that memorializes but also celebrates the history that takes place there. There'd be a commercial center, which is B. There'd also be a reinvestment and a reimagining of the colleges, of the college that sits there. It is everything from a creche, a primary school, as well as a high school that is looking there, that is located right there. Those facilities will be running programs out of them for education, but also thinking about how do we enhance that educational component as a pilgrimage for people like ourselves, business leaders in Africa, to be able to come and recognize how our history can influence where we can take both our businesses and our governments. And then with number D over there, that's the agricultural zone. In the agricultural zone, that's where you've got agri-processing facility, the land itself for doing the agriculture that we can be intensified, and different types of agriculture that can be introduced, but also the silo towards the north. There's a silo development there that could link up with the railway siding and any other sort of opportunity there. And then on E, there's a sports precinct. F is where we'd be looking to locate a solar farm. G is G, H, and I are actually residential developments. Because Mazimbu is also a student precinct, we are looking at how do we introduce better student accommodation, definitely higher density, and that would require a general improvement of the area. So better pavements, better streets, better lighting that can be provided, as well as better network connectivity, definitely looking at smart city that would be developing in that area, linking up with the type of people who'll be using it there. So you're looking at attracting both the tourists who'd be coming and participating in the gateway precinct for what is there, possibly accommodating them and some of the locals in a commercial precinct that can begin to serve those needs. And then all of this is anchored in a student village that is top-notch, globally competitive, that is located there. And then there's an agricultural area in the south as well. So the MAFCO Future Africa Precinct is delivering, amongst others, three things. It's cultural affirmation, basically being able to be positive about who we are and where we came from, especially the liberation movements, which most of them in Southern Africa have spent some time in Tanzania. Empowerment, the project itself would be looking at employing youths from both countries, and then a partnership approach through SOMAFCO Trust, engaging different parts of society and the partners, some of them that you see here today, to be able to make this precinct come together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, SOMAFCO. And we've got 3 more presentations to go. The next one will be business presentation from Grav Nagpal, Marketing Manager. You're welcome, brother.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and present here at the forum. Firstly, we would like to thank all of you for being here. As a start, we would like to congratulate Tanzania and all its people for consistently growing over 6 to 7% for the last 10 years. The economic prosperity which comes with it is shared by everybody, and it's felt by you. To all involved in the SOMAFCO project and precinct, we would like to acknowledge what it has done and the shared history which Tanzania and South Africa have. And it's a moment which the presidents have acknowledged, and my previous speaker has acknowledged, and I hope that partnership goes from strength to strength. As the respective presidents said, that South Africa and Tanzania must forge ties and convert this partnership of blood into economic ties, and we are here to support that. How? I would just like to bring some notice to what steel does. Steel is a backbone of economic development. It's a fundamental foundation which brings economic prosperity. The President spoke about improving manufacturing capabilities in Tanzania as well as in South Africa, and we as ArcelorMittal South Africa stand behind production of steel. What do we really do? We take raw minerals, iron ore, coking coal, and fluxes. We convert it into liquid steel and produce slabs and billets. And from there on, we add value to it by producing hot roll coil, plate, galvanized, rebar, and other forms of steel products, which are the founding blocks of everything else that happens thereafter. So whether it's fabrication, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's building automotives, the dreams and the vision which the President shared is the opportunity only possible once steel is there. A little bit of introduction about my company, ArcelorMittal South Africa. Who are we? We are part of ArcelorMittal Group, which is the largest steel company in the world. We produce about 100 million tons of steel every year. As ArcelorMittal South Africa, we are a part of ArcelorMittal Group, and we produce about 5 million tons of steel every year in South Africa. And our capacity is about 6 million tons. To give you an idea, that is about 1/3 of the steel consumed in the whole of Africa. Africa consumes about 18 to 20 million tons of steel, and we as South Africa can produce about 1/3 of it. We employ more than 13,000 people, but the value of steel industry in South Africa is that it creates jobs for over 100,000 people. We have various sites where we produce steel. We produce steel in flat steel products, which is produced in Funnabell Park and Saldanha. We produce long steel products, which is produced in Newcastle, Pretoria, and Vereeniging. And we've got coke batteries, which are used in the ferroalloy industries to smelt ferromanganese and ferrosilicon and other things. ArcelorMittal South Africa is one of the key pillars of growth engines of South Africa. Our products and production facilities and supply chains empower a lot of manufacturing capabilities, not just in South Africa, but in sub-Saharan Africa. We invest in thousands of employees and contractors and suppliers, and if you look at it, South Africa produces about 50 million tons of iron ore, and we process it into steel for almost 1/5 of it. And 1/5 of that steel is worth, after processing, almost the same value as the rest of the iron ore. We support our customers by incentivizing them for manufacturing rebates and abilities, but rebates is not the only thing which matters. We bring to table the skills. Our fortunes are shared with what South Africa has in vision, and as President Ramaphosa said, that we as South Africa and Tanzania must co-invest and help each other develop skills. So our national development program talks about construction, energy, infrastructure, and we are there. We've just acquired a mill in Highfield, which is the only mill which can produce rail in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. The President of Tanzania mentioned rail as one of the important cornerstones of development for Tanzania, and we can produce those rails. And then it's an opportunity to work together to make sure that South African-produced rails are used in Tanzania. Tanzania is a very exciting market for South Africa. We have been selling steel. Before ArcelorMittal, it was Mittal. Before Mittal, it was ISCOR. And before ISCOR, it was ASCO. It's a 100-year-old steel producing history in South Africa. And steel from South Africa has been traveling to Tanzania for many, many years. Even before I was born, and probably a large part of this room was born. We do sell about 100,000 tons of steel to Tanzania every year. And Tanzania as a market is very exciting for us. Today, we estimate that Tanzania consumes about 600,000 tons of steel, and we are proud to send about 100,000 from ours. Is it enough? No. As Tanzania grows, we expect the steel consumption in Tanzania to be about 1 million tons in 2025. We expect Dar es Salaam to be a megapolis of anywhere between 15 to 20 million people. And if we are to capture the demographic trends which President Ramaphosa alluded to, of having youth, then we want to be there to service the markets. So how do we want to service the market? We don't just want to service the market by selling steel into Tanzania. What we offer here is a partnership to downstream steel users, how to use steel better. It's not just about picking up a piece of steel and putting it in the ground as rebar. We, as the leading steel company, are exploring ways how steel can be consumed better as a solution. My previous speaker referred to building student housing in the precinct. And if I take a small example, what does student housing mean, and what do we mean? So this is the last slide. And I just want to use the example of when we talk about how to make use of steel better is what we bring to the table. If somebody wants to build student housing, yes, there's a bog standard design available. We can copy paste it and build a 200-room hostel of student housing. But what we bring to the table is what's the better way to construct with steel compared to any other alternative materials? How do we increase the speed of construction from, say, 18 months, 2 years to 12 months, which means an additional year of student accommodation? How do we make sure that instead of building a 3-story accommodation by using steel, we can build a 4-story accommodation? Within the same area of land, instead of putting 200 rooms, we can put 250 rooms. Instead of building a 20 square meter room for a student, we can use steel to build a 25 square meter room for each of the students. So steel today can do things which were not possible 10 years ago. And steel has been doing things continuously and better for almost 200 years now. So thank you for listening to us, and I hope you find steel as exciting as we do.
Thank you for that presentation. There is a lot of opportunities in the steel industry in Tanzania. We need a lot of steel in Tanzania. So you need to sell more than 90,000 tons to Tanzania. The next presentation will be from Sea Monster. Sea Monster.
I've got it. Hi, my name is Glenn Gillis. I'm the CEO of Sea Monster, and I'm going to talk to you guys about something completely different. I'm going to talk to you about how we're going to fire the imagination of young children. How are we going to ignite these so-called fourth industrial revolution skills? So much today has been centered around the third industrial revolution, and of course that's an important base. But what's really important to us is that we want to create the minds that will unlock the potential and allow South Africa, Tanzania, and Africa to compete globally in the so-called fourth industrial revolution, all within an engineering mindset. How we do that is to think about the mismatch. So many organizations are looking for young people coming into their businesses, startups, entrepreneurs. We've heard that said repeatedly today. And yet there's this big disconnect between what traditional educational institutions are delivering and what the needs of businesses are today. And one of the solutions that we've got, and which we're going to talk you through today, is how we kind of close the gap between those things. What we know is that the approach to skills development education is disconnected, it's fragmented, it's rooted in traditional schooling systems and university systems, which are very important and are busy evolving as best they can to cope with this. But the solution lies far outside of that. It lies in a new approach, a dynamic approach which is customized to the needs of kids. How many people here have kids that are spending their time gaming, watching animation, and so on? This is the way that we want to fire their imaginations. At Sea Monster, we want to be part of this new narrative, part of this new story that we're telling ourselves, that we, in our own heads, that Africa is taking to the world. And animation is a very powerful way to do that. But we could also argue that one of the big diseases we all face is that many young people feel hopeless. the disease is that through their own actions, they are not going to be able to influence the world around us. And one way that we've been giving structure and purpose and rules to interactions for as long as we've been around as humans is through the power of games. So we use animation to tell stories and games to drive that behavior change. Why we use animation is because it's a visual storytelling mechanism. And of course, we combine this with technologies like augmented reality, I don't know who's heard about that, and virtual reality. In fact, we delivered a solution for ArcelorMittal to assess their fear of heights using virtual reality. And we package this up as a total learning solution. So we understand precisely what it is that we're trying to drive in terms of the business outcomes and the learning outcomes, and we give kids something that's truly different and engaging. Animation is a visual storytelling mechanism. It cuts across cultures and literacy levels. We would look to do this in multiple languages, hopefully also in Kiswahili. And it's a way that kids prefer to learn. In fact, it's a way that most humans prefer to learn. Visual, bite-sized, give me what I need right now, and let me engage with the content. And games aren't just about fun. They can be, but they can be very, very powerful ways to drive learning outcomes. I don't know if any of your kids are playing Fortnite. Has anybody got that problem? Yep, okay, good. I see you, sister. It's okay. They're learning very important skills while they're doing that. They're not always aware that they are learning those skills. And what we use, a mechanism called serious games, which is driving these learning outcomes to get the results that we need. We've worked with many of the biggest companies in South Africa and some of the biggest companies in Africa. We've delivered financial education solutions for companies like Old Mutual, which is present here, FNB, also active in Tanzania. We've developed a suite of entrepreneurial solutions to give young adults an understanding of what it takes to start a business, what it takes to become an entrepreneur, whether you've got an idea or just a business. We're also very proud of our relationship with the Reserve Bank. We partner with them in South Africa to drive the understanding of the value of money, what's real money, what's not real money. And we do that, and we'd love to share the learnings that we've had with the Reserve Bank there, with our counterparts here in Tanzania. We're also very proud of our connections with some of the biggest IT companies in the world. You'll know the names Amazon and Facebook, of course, and we'll tell you about how we work with those guys to drive serious outcomes at scale and very cost effectively. And of course, in Africa, we've always had a history of storytelling. It's always been about how we've shared knowledge, how we've taken the history of our ancestors and passed that on to future generations. And we have a rich history of games and playing games, learning through game design. So what we want to do is very simple. We want to solve the biggest problems that face young kids in this uncertain future, where the basic skills that they have, the hard skills, are important, but what's more important is the so-called soft skills. And what we need to do is ignite their imagination, give them the tools that they need so that they can become more economically active, more productive, and work with large businesses, but also hopefully start their own businesses and help solve some of these real challenges. So these are the so-called fourth industrial revolution skills. You might have seen and read a lot about this. It's got a lot to do with creativity, problem solving, where you don't know the answer to something, but the process that you follow is the important element. There's this big idea about learning about how you learn, which is really important for all of us, but particularly for kids. It fits very neatly into this framework, which is a very well-established way of thinking about the fourth industrial revolution. And as mentioned, our focus is on the soft skills elements. We're very proud to announce that we, in partnership with Amazon, are going to be making available a whole range of technical skills training in Tanzania and in East Africa, as well as in South Africa, where kids with real potential are able to access cloud computing skills, data analytics skills. These are going to be the battlegrounds of the future economy, and we need to make sure that our people are ready. And Amazon is partnering with us to make accessible these opportunities to people wherever they could be. Often free of charge, which is quite incredible to think, because clearly it drives their business outcomes, but it does leave huge value to whichever society that they participate in. How we're going to do this is use the power of story. So on the one side, you've got who you are as an individual, understanding more about yourself, and on the other side, you have the needs of businesses and the job profiles that are yet to emerge. And we take you through a series of activities and stories which essentially take you on this journey and move you through this. It all runs on the Amazon cloud. It's called AWS, and what that means is that we're able to use the power of data to really understand what kids are working with, where they're struggling at, not at a class level or group level, but down at an individual level. We use their systems that allow for text to speech, speech to text, so often kids who might not be completely literate are still able to interact and engage with it. And they also have very powerful tools across literally dozens and dozens of languages. And as I mentioned, we're looking forward to working with them to make this available in Kiswahili as well in Tanzania. What it actually means is simple. It's a challenge. We'll take kids, we'll drop them on this virtual island, and we'll give them a series of tasks and challenges that they need to unlock. Kids are extremely comfortable with this, and even adults love to play games and solve mysteries as they go. So what you'll do is you'll go through a series of activities and challenges, a treasure hunt if you like, and at each stage you have to solve a particular problem, and that unlocks the next level in the challenge. What is also important is that you want to layer in games into this, very, very specific games. We're talking about rail networks. We're talking about how we're going to manage those resources. Games are a perfect way for people to learn about these things, to practice them, to fail in a safe way, to learn from that failure, and then to build on that. They're resource management games, they're engineering games where you need to do things. And what we'd love to do also is tie that into real world activities. Some of these challenges might be familiar to the engineers in the room when you first started studying, and these are the important things where in the real world you take the skills that you've learned and you practice those skills and you see how those things translate into real learning and real engineering solutions that can revolutionize our economies together. What it would look like is this. Kids love pizza. I don't know how much they love pizza in Tanzania, but what you're going to get is a series of boxes. Each box is a series of activities in that box, but wait, there's more. If you hook that up to an internet-empowered device, you're able to unlock further activities. That gives us the data that we need, it gives them the added value that they need, and also this box can be reconfigured into a virtual reality headset, which will immerse them in this learning, transport them all over the world, expose them to experiences that they might not be able to do otherwise. We do that as well and deliver an outcome using something called the business model canvas. It's a very practical way to think about a business, an opportunity, customers, who pays, who's dependent on it. And we find this is a very powerful framework to give young kids so that they don't just sit there with an idea, but are able to go and test this idea, scale it, to test whether they can in fact turn it into a business. We plan to partner with religious groups, NGOs, even schools and other partners who have outreach programs. Often they are deeply embedded in their communities and are crying out for real content that is actually delivering the learning outcomes that they want. We plan to take this out to rural areas. Morogoro is very important to us, as is the Northern Cape in South Africa, where potentially we'll be starting to pilot these projects. And yeah, We'd love to do that within a theme. We believe that to be renewables. Renewables is something that has come up a couple of times today. It's been stated in many strategy documents and statements coming out of both our presidencies. And it's a great way for young kids to actually build something in a very real way that could impact on their communities and then potentially come up with new things that could change the world of renewables, because nobody really knows what the future of this looks like. So exciting times indeed. What kids are left with, if they buy into our solution, is better knowledge of who they are, a better understanding of their skills profile. They understand what jobs exist out there, and they're left with very practical tools which they can use to take ideas and their learning and their passion and turn that into business opportunities. The benefits are clear. We have to fight the next war. We cannot be fighting the last war. The next war is going to be in the minds of our young people. It's going to be where we reimagine, like our people who came before us did, sitting in Morogoro, imagining what 30, 50 years into the future could look like. We have to go back to the roots, we have to go back to those stories, and we have to give that knowledge down to the next generation in a way that is scalable and cost-effective. Thank you very much. We're from Sea Monster, delighted to talk to you about any of this.
Wait, this is very interesting. So you're talking about kids, you're talking about youth. So which age exactly are you talking about?
It's a good question. This program specifically is targeted to 13 to 15-year-olds. And it's really important because it's at that young age that kids are setting themselves up for future career choices. They're having to understand themselves. Young women particularly have to stand up in public and fail systematically. It's called the scientific method, and we want to give them the courage to be able to do that. So this program is designed for that, but we work with everybody up to the boards of some of the biggest companies in South Africa.
Thank you very much. You have earned yourself a business card from me. So can I have yours as well? This is very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see people are doing B2B, and I have not allowed you to do B2D. But it's nice. It's nice if you have found yourself an interesting partner. And I want to tell you, Tanzanians who are in this room, please, I can see you exchanging business cards, but I will really request you to come back to TPSF or TIC and tell us whether you have you have concluded any deal. You remember on the 7th of June, 2019, when the president complained that he has actually invited presidents with the business people, but he does not get any feedback whether there are any deals that have been concluded. So for those Tanzanians who have taken business cards, and I know some of you, I've seen you, I want you to get us a feedback so that we can tell the president what happened. So the last presentation will be from the DBSA. We've been talking about so many projects. Now we want to see where the money is. Do we have Mr. Brand Lamin? Is he still here with us? Or he's gone for a state banquet? I know some of you have been invited to the State House for the state banquet. Fine. Are you here? You are not here. So if you're not here, this is the end of our presentations. We were supposed to have a Q&A, but it seems like everybody has got his own partner. So, Chairman, with your permission, we can call this a day, maybe today. I know some of you are going to the State House. I'll need to see you, please. Please. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance to this business forum. And our president said we need to discuss concrete ideas. We need to see how we can trade together and invest together. So thank you very much, all the best. And see you later if you'll be attending the state banquet at the State House. Asanteni sana jamani wa Tanzania. Na nimerudia wa Tanzania, mkipata dili mrudi TPSF mtuambie. Rais anatulaumu kwamba msemi kitu. Sawa jamani? Tusaidiane, na mimi mniokoe, na mimi sio nasema kila siku.
Ninawashukuru sana pia kwa kuichagua Tanzania kuwa mwenyeji wa maadhimisho haya ya SADC. Kwa kweli hii ni heshima kubwa kwa Tanzania. Asanteni sana.
Umoja wetu ndio nguzo yetu, ndio siri ya nguvu na uimara wetu. Umoja wetu ndio nguzo yetu, ndio siri ya ustawi na kukua kwetu.
Bega kwa bega, timize lengo letu, tuitunze SADC yetu kwa maslahi ya nchi zetu.
Tushirikiane kwenye biashara kwa maendeleo na uchumi imara. SADC tushane mara kwa mara, tuitunze amani isije hasara. Tunamshukuru na Kaunda, Mwalimu Nyerere na Mugabe walishirikiana tukavuka
Historia ile